My father disowned me because I want to take control of my life.
Control it, get all the cheat codes, go off into the sunset, put that joystick in drive.
Oh, God. Well, I am facing being disowned by my family because I'm planning on moving in with my girlfriend next year.
Woo.
Sounds like family troubles. But first, a little background. I come from a very conservative, driven family. My father has been very involved in my life, and I owe a lot of my success to him. Okay. He has worked hard to provide me with opportunities to keep me motivated and to ensure that I reach my potential. By the way, this comes from Nico and if you want to submit your own story and reach your potential, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit and send them in. Now, I am attending college on a full ride scholarship due in part to my own hard work, but also as a result of his guidance and involvement in my life. That said, my father's methods aren't the best.
What are his methods? Tell me, John.
I will. While he only does the things he does out of love for me and a desire to help me, he has always been extremely strict and controlling. While this was somewhat necessary when I was younger, his approach means the same despite the fact that I am now 22 years old. So basically, he's treating him like a 10-year-old. Like, hey, little Jimmy, did you clean your room? And he's like, yeah, Dad, I cleaned my room in my apartment.
But I'm also 22, and you don't need to police that anymore, father.
Yeah, no, I do. It's like when my dad tried to make me sign a contract to not drop out of college.
And you're like, fat chance, daddy-o, I'm dropping out. Boom.
Didn't work.
Became reality TV star. True story for those that know the John lore.
There you go. Google it. It's not on there. Now, essentially, his word is final. Disagreeing with him is unacceptable and disrespectful, and going against his will on any major issue is grounds for disownment in my family.
Wow.
That's not just strict.
The ultimate punishment. What does disownment even mean? Like, it's just like, I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, I want to know what the levels are.
That's my guess here is Dad will push for excommunication as hard as
excommunication.
Possible.
He's like the Pope.
Yeah, exactly. Just get him. Excommunication from the Pope.
Excommunication is a papal.
I thought it was a different word.
Well, you could say
I guess it works.
But excommunication is like it comes from the Pope and from the days of European churches being like the worst thing that you could do is get excommunicated from the church. It was like
right.
being
I guess
banished.
it is excommunicated.
Yeah,
you're right. Shout out to the Pope.
Better
than this dad, I think. Now, for example, my older brother has been disowned from my family for marrying his now wife against my dad's wishes. How dare you?
Sounds like you found love.
That is unacceptable. Just kidding. They met at the beginning of college, dated for 4 years, and got married soon after graduating. Okay? So while part of my dad's disapproval stems from the fact that he and my brother's wife do not get along, the main issue is that my father thinks my brother got married too young. Interestingly enough, my parents' relationship history perfectly mirrors my brother's.
I hate that.
I.e.,
the hypocrisy.
My parents met in college and got married when they graduated.
Yeah, but it's like kind of like I feel like relationships as they move forward in time have interests. Like my parents got together earlier than I'll probably get together, and like their parents got together earlier than they got together, and then my grandparents got together. Like my great grandparents probably got together at like 12. You know?
Wow.
I don't know if that's true, but I feel like they, as you go back, people got married earlier and earlier.
But dude, the level of hypocrisy, this would
it's
drive
crazy.
me.
It's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I would be a little bit peeved.
Yeah, 100%. It is abundantly clear that my dad regrets getting married so young. ICU?
Oh.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
He's like, I hate my marriage. I don't want you to hate it too.
Keep watching. We'll see what happens. So now here's where I come in. After losing my older brother.
Maybe
to disownment.
To disownment.
Okay.
Maybe it could be. It could be this dad got mad.
I think we're gonna get more details here soon.
Smashed him.
Oh my God. After losing my older brother, my dad has really latched on to me. He routinely tells me that I'm his best friend and he cares deeply about my success and future. It's safe to say that I am his favorite child. I have 2 sisters as well, as I am the most like my dad in terms of my interests and also the most successful.
Okay.
All right. Big
Beat your
shot.
own chest. Okay.
Golly. In fact, my dad and I get along very well most of the time. Unfortunately, I also have a very serious girlfriend. It's like saying, like, hey guys, I got some serious news to tell you. I am in a committed relationship.
Oh no! The
I know.
outrage.
It's
How
could
old
be,
are you?
I'm only 22, and guess what? It could be terminal. It could be for the rest of my life.
Oh jeez.
I know. How disgusting,
as well
right?
walk off the plank right now.
Terrible. We've been dating for over 4 years now, since senior year of high school, and we intend to stay together after we graduate. While my dad actually likes my girlfriend, he is diametrically opposed to how serious we are. In his mind, I need to date as many girls as possible.
Bro.
And I shouldn't even consider being in such a serious relationship at my age.
Dad's like, spread your seed, son. Take those ladies to the stabbing cabin.
We need to reload this, son. We need as many shots in as possible.
Oh my God.
Michael Jordan.
Dude, Dad's like, son, be a little whore.
So he needs that machine we pulled up. What is it? The backhoe tractor, the thing that plants like 1,000 seeds at once. We need one of those. Riley, look up those.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
We'll let OP know what he needs. Now, as a result,
sorry, it's like a fertilizer thing. There's like a fertilizer thing that goes like, and it does like this.
it has a giant, like, how many seeds does it plant? Like 1,000 seeds
Dude.
per second or
Oh,
something?
yeah. Crazy.
So many seeds. That's what his dad wants for his kid. Now, as a result, it is his view that I need to spend at least 1 to 2 years away from my girlfriend after we graduate to grow independently and to find myself.
I mean, he's like, I feel like his heart's in the right place. He's basically like, I hate my marriage. I don't want you to hate your marriage too, but it's misplaced because
Dude,
OP does not hate his partner.
I think this is a great example of when a potentially extremely productive intention and conversation was like, hey man, this was my experience.
Yeah.
I just want you to be able to explore. But OP is like, I love my girlfriend. I want to move in with her. And now he has to face being disowned from his family because his brother already was. I mean, it could be so great.
His dad just wants a bunch of bachelors,
Yeah.
He wants to live vicariously through his boys messing around.
Yeah. There's some
stinkiness.
There's some stinkiness and some
unresolved trauma.
Yeah, something in the dad, like again, like, oh, I think
a lot of seed probably unsown.
He has so much seed that he did not spill.
Yeah,
and he just wants to
pass it down. He wants to pass it forward.
Oh, daddy, no. Daddy, chill. Now, of course, neither my girlfriend nor myself want this to be apart for 1 to 2 years. I'm planning on pursuing a PhD after I graduate. I've already been accepted to several good programs. Woohoo!
Let's go.
This kid is like the greatest kid ever.
I know. He has a relationship. He's very successful. Got the PhD. Nothing's going wrong for this man.
And my girlfriend is currently applying for jobs in the places where I have applied to schools. Everything is falling into place here. So for some time now, our plan has been to move in together after we graduate. Given my dad's opinion on a relationship, however, I have misrepresented this plan to him, telling him that we are applying for things independently, but hoping to end up near each other. Essentially, the plan was to pretend that her dream job and my dream school just happened to end up being in the same place and that we got lucky. As stupid as this plan was, it actually seemed like it might be working until a few days ago.
Wait, just to understand that. So they're applying to a bunch of different things at the same time, and they're planning to be together, right? So
Correct.
It's like they're planning to be together. Are they? But is it not that where it's not exactly their dream school? They're choosing like to be together over their dream scenarios. Is that what's kind of happening?
He's already been accepted to places, and she's just applying. She's only looking for jobs in the areas he's been.
So it's not
to.
her dream job. It's just a job near him.
It seems that she is the one making more of the sacrifice, but I think the big picture thing here, and maybe to like break down really quick, is he is essentially like lying to his dad in order to kind of trickle truth. It is a one could say a trickle truth in the pursuit of something good, him being able to be with who he loves and not be disowned by his dad. But what do we think about that?
But at what cost? I don't know. Like,
it's a tough one. to be honest.
I recognize that there are people that can't tell their parents things. You know, it's
exactly.
like not everyone's gonna be understanding of who you are and how you choose to show up in the world. But as I feel like a general rule of the show is communicate early and often.
Exactly.
And you know, like it's gonna come out regardless. It's not his business. But if the dad's already in your business, he's gonna know your business. You know?
Yeah, I think. Again, generally, like I think for sure the rule of thumb generally here is like just go ahead and communicate what's happening, because then you get to like live authentically as who you actually are. You are in love with this woman and want to move in with her. But I don't want to 100% co-sign it, but I do see the very tender balance here of like,
of course, yeah.
I want to be able to, move in and live with my girlfriend and
not be disowned.
And do my best not to be disowned. And that's not his fault. Like it's his dad that's doing that. So
yeah. I think should OP have done anything differently? Should OP have been forthright, you think, with exactly what was happening? Hey, I've already been accepted to the school and my girlfriend's looking for jobs near it.
To be honest, I think at this point, maybe not. Maybe
to not. So what he's done is good.
I think for the time being, because I see him struggling to try to continue this relationship with his dad. He clearly sees the good in his dad, and he obviously, as he absolutely should and is well entitled to, he wants to live with his girlfriend and be with his girlfriend, and he's like very harshly like taking his own judges and biases and using them to cut him off. So,
but then he says the dad will disown you for being with the person you love. Time to go hang out with disowned bro and have a good life without him. You know, like I think this generally goes to like, and you know, there are exceptions to this rule, but to say the rule, if you being who you are, it makes you be disowned by who you love, then I don't know if that was a relationship that is worth protecting.
A phenomenal point. And you could also say, hey, look, this is me. This is who I am. I would love to be in your life. But if you choose to, basically remove me from the family, that's fine. I would want to continue and like work through this and like remain a part of your life because I love you. Yeah. And you kind of just leave it at that.
Balls in your court. Balls in your court. You can choose to move towards me if you'd like.
I feel like that. Now thinking all the way through, feel like that's a pretty good.
Yeah, and I think when you tell the truth early and often, you communicate early and often, you basically allow people to say like, I like this or I don't like this, and you still stay in integrity with yourself, which is I think the most important thing.
Agreed. But let's see what OP actually does. Now, as stupid as a plan as this was, it actually seemed like it might be working until a few days ago when my dad asked me if I would live with my girlfriend should we end up in the same place. Caught off guard, I told him, yes, we probably would. The truth is out.
All right. Okay.
That is when everything came crashing down. My parents are extremely conservative, and while they are not practicing Christians, they use the Bible when it is convenient for their arguments.
The worst kind.
I know you...
Lovely.
Riley.
Without all the full context.
I know you hate it, right?
Yeah.
Come on now.
It just like bothers me when people use Bible verses out of context. It's like, why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah. Dude, it's the worst. Thus, they are completely opposed to any form of cohabitation before marriage, despite the fact that they themselves lived together before marriage.
You know, that happened to me growing up. Like, my mom was always like, you can't do XYZ before you're married. And then I was like, wait a minute, but grandma and grandpa did, and you and dad did. Wait a minute.
This is
do as I say, not as I do.
And at least if you're like, hey, this was a mistake I made, that's a way different story. But when you're just like, I will disown you if you don't do this, but you did it. How about you disown yourself?
Yeah, my mom did it first.
Idea.
Ooh,
just an idea. Now, at this point, I think it's relevant to include the email that my father sent me soon after this conversation. Family. Okay, so this is to everybody.
Okay.
I have learned today that OP plans to live with his girlfriend. If they happen to end up in the same place, quote unquote, I am appalled, disgusted, and pissed off. OP, you could have not honored your parents more than to make such a huge life decision without so much as even an attempt to get advice or consider the implications of your actions on others.
What implications? How is this affecting you?
I don't like it, and now I'm gonna be mad, Daddy, and I wanna be happy, Daddy. Don't you want happy,
Exactly
Daddy?
that. That's what I'm imagining. A little
It's
Jabba
me.
the Hutt, Daddy-o.
Me, your daddy. Don't you love me?
Furthermore, it is completely against your family's values and your faith. You have shown how ridiculously immature and self-centered you truly are. Becoming an adult does not mean you can do whatever you want, no matter the consequences. To decide to live together, not because of unpassing away love and commitment, but because it just worked out, is morally and ethically disastrous. It seems that in this case, neither party are willing to give up their own overly inflated self-interests to sacrifice their individual goals for the other, but instead have decided to go their own ways and live together if by chance their individual choices brought them to the same place. Wow. ... Choices like this have immense consequences. None of you are even remotely mature enough to be making decisions like this without a serious study, debate, and mentorship. Avoidance of the discussion is yet another symptom of cowardice and immaturity. Sister has shown the maturity and respect to discuss the possibility of living with her boyfriend at some point, with both her mom and I, both separately and together on several occasions. She is taking her time to consider the decision carefully and how the decision impacts everyone involved. That is exactly how a mature, considerate, respectful family member behaves. To do so otherwise is disrespectful to your family in such an egregious manner as to threaten the very existence of your family relationships. You're the one threatening the family relationships.
Yeah, how is this threatening your familial relationships? You're the one who...
It's him.
It's him. He's the guy with like the gun being like, don't make me shoot you.
Why? Why are you making me do this?
Or I guess I should say pew pew. He's
The
the
pew
one
pew.
with the pew pew is like, don't make me bang you.
And
Man, we have to do so much censorship.
yeah, right. And again, too, I think like back to the earlier point of like, hey, I'm gonna do this. I want to be involved in my life, but it's unaliving them with kindness.
Yeah.
Like I think if you unalive them with kindness, it just so shows how insane they are
And who the real villain is.
and who the real villain is. And hopefully, if they actually learn, they'll be like, "Wow, here I was ready to disown my son, and he was still like, I'm here if you want to be,
Yeah.
but I have to live my life and respect myself."
But something that I am seeing in the dad's email is it's almost like he's mad that OP didn't ask him about the living with a girlfriend more than OP living with the girlfriend.
It
seems like he just I feel like he feels hurt that he wasn't consulted. And
yeah.
And like, if that is true, which I don't think it is entirely true, but I think there's a portion of it that is affecting the dad's answer. I think that goes back to our first point is maybe if OP had communicated this early, often, and transparently, the fallout from the dad feeling like he was blindsided would be less, because he's talking about how the sister is basically asking for the same thing, but he's like, she did it in a better way because she started talking to me before it happened and kind of giving me a heads up.
Yeah, I think it probably would have helped, but I feel like he also might be using that as a mechanism of control,
Manipulation.
to where it's
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, she told me, and it's like if you tell me when you're in the decision making process, I can more easily like stamp it out of you and
Yeah,
can
that's true.
control what you're doing. But I do think at least maybe this is probably so traumatic to OP to imagine receiving this email from your dad, not just to you but to the whole family, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be heartbreaking.
getting flamed in on the family group chat is kind of whack.
Also, why do you have all of your family members' email addresses?
I have
That's
all my
what I'm
family
curious
members'
about.
That is pretty wild.
We have
actually.
a big family chain, so
Yeah.
that's normal for us.
Emails
Really?
though or text?
Emails and text, baby.
Okay.
Okay,
you-
text makes sense, but
Baby.
not emails.
Yeah, email. Y'all are organized. I'll give you that. Now, the letter is not over. Okay. The dad continues, let me be completely clear.
Oh, wow. He wasn't clear enough.
Yeah. Mom and I are completely, absolutely 100% against any of you living with a boyfriend or girlfriend, which I think, again, goes back to, like, he just wants to be able to control the sister.
Yeah.
I feel like more
yeah.
so.
I'm confused because he was like, your sister told me about how she was going to live with a boyfriend, and that's like how we should do things around here. But also, I want none of you living with your partners at all.
Again, I feel like just another, like, mechanism of
control.
control
Yeah.
and
It's
how
all
he
about
can
control.
Critique.
He's a oligarch seasoned power.
We don't like that.
No, we don't.
Now, while we have not had any real in-depth discussion surrounding the ethical and moral implications of cohabitation, say that 5 times fast, there's much to consider and discuss. I'm well aware that your mom and I did it, but we both completely regret it for many reasons. A responsible family member might consider the implications of deciding to live with someone without first seeking the counsel and blessing of their mother and father in a decision of this magnitude. I have attached a small primer on just some of the issues that you might want to consider before making such a move.
Ooh, this is going to be fun.
I expect you to read all of it in its entirety.
I want to hear the primers. I'm actually super curious.
Well,
Tell me what you got.
we are not getting into the primers.
What?
We are getting
So
into
fun.
the response from the son.
Oh,
Oh,
like
it's-
responding to the email.
Literally responding to the email. I am
Whoa.
assuming everyone CC'd. This is a...
Oh, also, the dad has got to like be aware that this is not going to look good to the rest of the family, right?
I wonder, he might be so in his bubble that, like, this is just... he wants it at any cost. He's willing to lose his son to have the, you know, the satisfaction of knowing that, like, okay, they're doing it the way I want them to.
That is a lame trade.
That
Lame
is
trade. Not a trade deal I would want.
Insane trade.
No.
So just to be clear, the issues with my dad stem not just from my decision to live with my girlfriend, but also from how I have approached the issue. I have purposefully hidden my intentions from him because of the example of both my older siblings. Not reflected in the email above is the fact that my older sister broached the issue of living with her boyfriend 2 years ago, and there was a similar explosion in the family. After much pressure, she backed down, and it appears she is just now reopening the discussion. I didn't know about that until this email. The fact that I hid this from my father is a gross betrayal and proof to him that I am not mature enough to make these kinds of decisions. However, I certainly haven't approached this issue in a vacuum. I have discussed the implications of moving in with my girlfriend with multiple other people, and I have actually been given extensive consideration, not just to the consequences of my relationship with my girlfriend, but also for the inevitable consequences for my relationship with my dad. I simply haven't brought it up with my dad because, as he states above, I know he is 100% against it. Nevertheless, I am not ready to lose my relationship with my father and, by extension, my family. As a result, I met with my father the day after he sent the email, tried to explain to him that I didn't talk to him about this because I felt that I couldn't, and that I felt couldn't come to him for advice on most issues because I am a traitor if I don't end up taking his advice. Which, by the way, so far, great.
Yeah.
Like, he's like going, he's like very like
Systematically, like, this is why.
this is why.
Yeah.
He's not even attacking. He's like, this is just the reason why I felt like
Yeah.
I'd be a traitor if I came to you for anything. I explained to him that I want to be able to talk to him about big issues like this, but that I won't be able to until he can support my decision, even if they contradict his advice. Unfortunately, this was less effective. My father likened my request for him to support my decision to live with my girlfriend to him asking me support in cheating on my mom.
Wait.
So-
Say it again.
Yeah, so my father likened my request for him to support my decision, living with my girlfriend, to him asking me to support him in cheating on my mom.
What? Dude. You're kidding me.
Yep. I mean, if people are honest and share the, like, what they actually want to do, I feel like dad will basically end up cutting everyone else off until he is alone on an island and forced to reconcile. Because what about mom? Is mom just cool with, like, hey, I have to disown my kids now, all of them?
Yeah.
Like literally,
Yeah.
all the kids want to live with their partner.
I'm also curious,
For marriage.
like, what the is this a cultural thing? Like, is this what is the dad like the patriarch of the household, and the mom is just being like, all right, co-signing whatever the dad says? Like, I'm curious what the familial dynamic is, because where's the mom in all this?
I feel like
there's no way she's okay with this, right?
We haven't heard from her, so I think it's hard to say right now, but it does seem like he grasps at whatever, Bible quotes, not knowing the Bible and all these different things in order to be used, or like, hey, you got to tell me first, he uses all of these things as tools maybe to get them to do what he wants. Avery from the Swamp says dad is a control freak.
Yeah, so even if OP had gone to dad in the way that his sister went to dad about her relationship, it probably would have blown up in the same way.
Yeah,
there's no winning with him.
Given OP's level-headedness, I'm, narrator's never 100%, but I'm inclined to believe like a lot of what OP's saying about like that there was an explosion there. But OP continues, I'm not ready to give up yet. I then asked my dad what it would take for him to approve with a relationship with my girlfriend. My dad believes that my girlfriend and I are too dependent on one another, so he prescribed that we live apart for around 2 years, and that he would support us getting married and moving in together if we are still committed to each other after that. However, he predicts that we will realize that we're wrong for each other during that time and break up.
Interesting. So maybe dad just doesn't like the girlfriend too.
I think like, again, I feel like there's something just like deep rooted in dad that like is above our weight class to
he just
figure
doesn't
out.
want his son to make the same mistakes that he did, and he's going about it in the complete wrong way.
But it's like he said like, oh, he even, at least OP said like, oh, it seems like he likes my girlfriend, and he's like, oh, but I think you guys are. When am I supposed to get married? 100?
Yeah.
Meet my age, dude. Come on.
Let me live.
Let me live. Now, I'm actually open to living apart from my girlfriend for around a year. I have no doubt we would survive it. We survived her living abroad for 5 months, but logistically, it does not work. With graduate school, I will be in the same place for 5 to 6 years, and his plan would have us living in separate places. Thus, in order to reunite after a year or two, she would have to quit whatever job she gets now and then move to where I am. When I pointed this out, he said that he's essentially requiring my girlfriend to make all of the sacrifices here, and my dad did not budge. He told me that if she really loved me, she'd be willing to do that for me, and that she shouldn't have a problem with it since I'll be the breadwinner anyways. Just to be clear, my girlfriend is studying engineering and has career aspirations, so she's going to be making some guwap, okay? So at this point, I feel like I'm at an impasse. If I move forward and live with my girlfriend next year, I will lose my family. However, if I capitulate to my dad's demands, I will lose the love of my life. More than that, however, I will be reinforcing my dad's controlling behavior. Every major issue in my life and the lives of my siblings are approached by him in this manner. Up until now, I have felt that I have no real control over my life because all of my decisions are dictated by my dad's wishes, regardless of my own desires. I felt for some time now that things will eventually and badly end between us when I eventually take control of my life, but now that it is happening, I have to ask if I'm making the right decision. Sorry if any of this is nonsensical or if there are any egregious errors or typos. It's quite long and I'm not sure. I'm not exactly in great shape right now. Also, I didn't manage to work in the fact that I am now an atheist, but I cannot tell my dad because that is grounds for being disowned.
Oh boy.
That's
everything is
important.
grounds for being disowned with this
Literally.
guy.
You drink orange juice? Oh, I hate orange juice. I had a cut in my mouth and it hurt. Disowned.
That's
Disowned.
That's dad. That's dad. That's fairly important, as I can't argue with him that cohabitation is in fact morally acceptable. While I still profess to be a Christian. There is an update.
Is it juicy?
It is the fattest, juiciest,
Ooh.
most shall I say,
Is it orange juiciest?
well
And
broken down. Oh, dude.
to the point where the dad might not even like it.
It's juicy.
Oh boy.
But before we get into that, really quickly, I just want to like shout out OP for being so emotionally mature and communicative at 22 years old.
Yeah.
Like he has a 1000x better grasp on how to communicate around these issues than his own father.
Yeah,
does.
and I think what's like, I mean, the father keeps saying, "Oh my God, you're not mature," but at every opportunity, OP has shown how mature he actually is.
So much more than his own dad.
So much more.
Yeah. Do we think he should just go for it? Live with girlfriend?
I mean, does he need the dad for anything?
It kind of
doesn't
sounds like, from just like
Doesn't seem
context
he needs
clues,
money doesn't
seems like he's set.
Yeah, I saw a comment earlier where it's like, dude, ditch your dad and go hang out with your brother. I feel like it might be at that point now.
Yeah. I think prescribing a talk with the brother would be really good.
Dude.
Because you can kind of still see, remember, he was like, I know that I have not considered maybe some of the moral implications. I feel like there's still that like brainwashing, which is, I mean, his dad has probably brainwashed him like that his entire life. It's totally understandable. But like, I feel like talking with the brother will really help him get the clearest vision possible for what he wants.
The curtain a bit. I agree. Yeah, let's get with the brother.
Well, let's see what happens in this update.
All right.
Hey, everybody. I posted in r/relationships a month ago regarding my dad threatening to disown me after I told him I'm planning on moving in with my girlfriend of 4 years. You can find the original post here. I am not much of a Reddit user, but I come for advice from time to time, so I didn't provide any updates after the original post, but you guys were all very supportive and helpful, so I wanted to provide an update. After the meeting I described with my dad in the last post, we didn't speak at all. I kept in contact with my mom. She periodically begged me to fix things with my dad and come to apologize, which I think now maybe mom wants the relationship with the kids, but maybe is afraid of like
afraid of the dad.
The dad, yeah.
Yeah.
And like being
I think
like,
she's
no.
like she wants to keep the peace.
Yes, yeah. But I've been incredibly busy traveling almost every weekend to visit graduate schools. This past week, I finally got some time, so I decided to write my dad an email apologizing for the fact that I hid my intentions to live with my girlfriend from him while still standing my ground. I sent this email last night, and here it is. Mom and Dad, to start, I'd like to apologize for how long it's been and the way things have all gone. No matter the reason, it was not right for me to misrepresent my plans to you or my intent to live with my girlfriend. I know that this was incredibly hurtful to you, and there's no justification for it. I'm sorry. I'd also like to acknowledge that I know that you're on my side and that you're just trying to prevent me from making what you view as a grave mistake. I do not believe that living with my girlfriend next year will be as detrimental to my continued growth and development as you imply. To be sure, I understand your concern in this area. Girlfriend and I are young, and I agree that we still have a lot to learn about ourselves, but where you see girlfriend as a hindrance to my development, a crutch that lets me avoid the painful process of growth, I see a partner who's going to help me along the way. Growth and development.
That's awesome.
Again, just like
OP is very mature.
He's so mature.
Ugh. I mean, he's had to be with these buffoons running around in his family.
Come on, dude. It is a miracle that his brain grew to work like this under his parents.
I know.
A freaking miracle. Thank God. Growth and development don't have to happen alone. It's something that you've been helping me with my entire life, and it's something that girlfriend can help me with as well. Dude, he's
bar
so good.
After bar.
He's so good. In fact, after a considerable amount of thought, I believe that my relationship with my girlfriend has fostered significant growth for me. Girlfriend has pushed me to try a vast array of new things that I never would have without her. Simply put, she is adventurous and eager to try new things. I cannot even express how this has pushed me outside of my comfort zone in beneficial ways. So while there are certainly ways in which our relationship limits our new experiences, I don't disagree that we spend a lot of time together. It's also expanded them greatly. Likewise, girlfriend and I hold some fairly different views. While you've spoken about this as a fundamental incompatibility, which will cause increased conflict as our young love matures, I see it as a blessing and one of the parts of our relationship. Our differing viewpoints have fostered incredibly fruitful conversations on a regular basis, creating exactly the type of hard reflection that is necessary for self-discovery. While it's true that sometimes it creates discomfort, it's also helped me learn how to disagree in constructive ways, and it keeps both of us honest.
100% agree.
Dude.
Like often, like having similar ways of understanding truth in the world, but different conclusions of what truth about the world is, leads to the most engaging debate that grows your understanding of each other and the world more. It's like one of the coolest things.
And like, it seems like not only is OP has attracted someone like himself.
Yeah.
A like brilliant, mature, and they're going to be a doctor and an engineer. Like It is
They're
any
chilling.
parent should be like throwing a
Thank
parade
God. Yeah.
in the streets for this child. Ha!
But instead, they're just like creating these dumb little emails. Ugh.
They need to get off the emails.
I
It's
know.
just a little
Let's
deep.
send a text thread.
Yeah, come on.
anything.
Let's
Yeah,
graduate
get into
to
the 21st
iMessage.
century.
Come
yeah.
on. It makes our indefensible positions obvious while simultaneously forcing us to provide real justifications for our positions. Essentially, it's taught us how to fight, an incredibly important skill in any serious relationship, and has also made us better educated and more articulate people. Still, there's a lot of risks to us living together. I understand that living together comes with a whole new set of challenges that I'll have to learn how to navigate while settling into a new state and new school. I understand the divorce rate is higher amongst couples who live together before marriage. I understand that living with my girlfriend has a potential to distract me and undermine my studies. I understand that moving to a new place with my girlfriend makes it more difficult to go out and meet new people. At the same time, all of these risks are manageable and worth it to me. I've never let distractions impact my school, and to assume that I would is just silly. And while the divorce rate is higher amongst couples who live together before marriage, it also decreases significantly with education and income level. Girlfriend and I love each other, and after over 4 years together, we're both ready to move forward with our relationship. I know this is the opposite of what you think is right for me. I should just be getting less serious with girlfriend, not more. And like I acknowledged above, I know that there are risks associated with it. I'm happy to talk about those risks. And in fact, I want to know, I know you have a lot more knowledge and life experience than me. Countless times I've been certain about my choices only to see that you're right all along. But with how we stand now, I don't feel like I can talk to you about some of the big questions of my life. If I make a choice that you feel you cannot condone, it leads to major conflict and the possibility of losing my family. That's not to say that I don't ever want to object to your decisions, but as long as these objections carry ultimatums about family in place, I will never be able to seek your advice. All conflict aside, this last month has been terrible, and I don't have much time left before I go to grad school, and I want to spend as much time as possible with you before I do. I love you both more than I could ever express, and it's not worth wasting our valuable time together, fighting or not speaking. I know this conversation needs to continue, but let's continue to have it as a family. Love, OP.
Whoo! That is some heat.
I don't know if I've ever
That
read.
is some heat.
I mean, this.
Oh,
I'm gonna
man.
I'm gonna do a Dakota. The OP to letter writing pipeline needs to be studied. Like the way that OP thinks about and approaches this. I mean, is there any notes here? Like
no notes.
There's no
A
notes, bro.
Plus, wow,
It's perfect.
wow. He's respectful,
Yeah,
but firm.
it's
He is empathetic, but like also clearly gets his view a point across, and also he's like the thing that we mentioned earlier, where it's like the dad probably just wants him to like ask him advice as well. He even does that. He
wants
even
it.
does that.
He's like, I
Wow.
literally want to ask your advice, but I'm terrified of losing my entire family.
Oh, dude.
I want your advice.
Masterclass.
Just-
I want your advice, OP.
Yeah,
You're crushing it.
please, dude. OP, if this ever makes it back to you, come on the show for an F, man. Like, give us the goods.
Give us the deeds.
Give us the keys to success here.
How did you develop into such a lovely young man?
Yeah,
You
my
know?
God.
Let chat thirst over you respectfully.
I'm imagining he'll be in like a little bow tie. He's just so like
Yeah, you just put together.
the way they
Suspenders.
speak. Yeah,
Suspenders.
yeah, definitely suspenders. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a total left turn curveball you never would have expected.
What?
His dad writes him another email.
Oh, is it going to be crap? It's going to be crap. It's going to be crap.
Yeah.
This is not going to.
So here's Dad's reply to OP. Apologies are best delivered in person and without justification of every wrong afterward. Starting off horrible. This sort of takes the sincerity out of it. You and girlfriend have done so much damage to our family. You both lied to us for months. Crazy to phrase it that way. And in doing so, you disgrace yourselves and our family and greatly disrespected me and everything I stand for. You stand for stupidity. I'm so glad that I can disrespect that.
Get him.
We spent the last 22 years sacrificing for you. In return, you have stuck us in the back and crapped all over our family values.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do not like this man. There's no honor in anything you've said below. only your own self-justifications for your dishonorable behavior. You expect those of us with principles to abandon them and go along with whatever you want. If we're unwilling, then you've absolved any responsibility under the excuse of ultimatums. Mature adults face hard conversations with poise and an open mind. I feel like literally OP could write this letter to dad and everything would work.
Yeah.
He's literally critiquing just everything he's doing wrong. He is not having a maturity and poise.
Wait, but he said like putting ultimatums? Isn't the dad putting ultimatums?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How is OP putting ultimatums?
He literally isn't. He's just, all OP is saying is like, hey, I'm going to be doing this moving forward, and I want your advice, and I want you in my life.
That's not an ultimatum.
That's not an ultimatum. Bro needs a dictionary. So I was honest, open, and upfront and proactive with you. You lied, betrayed, backstuck, and manipulated, and I'm the bad guy? Yes. Here, have the courage to ask for and receive advice before you make a life decision, whether you think you'll agree with it or not. Engaging only in conversations where you get what you want is pathetically self-indulgent and cowardly. What do you think you're doing?
Dude, this guy sucks.
What do you think you're doing? Bro, I got this crazy thing for you to buy. It's going to change your life. It is called
a mirror.
A mirror.
Yep.
You will see yourself in yourself.
I don't know how you could write this, read it back, and not be like, oh wait, I'm writing about myself.
It's insane.
It's insane. Yeah.
Like the level of mental Olympics this man has had to jump through. Bro is the Usain Bolt, the Simone Biles.
Yeah, he's flipping through the air. Olympics. He's flipping through the air.
Every piece of logic, he's doing a quadruple 360 backflip over.
Oh.
Every piece of logic. You say you and your girlfriend love each other, and after 4 years, you're both ready to move forward with your relationship. Is this how you both move forward? By deceit and betrayal? Through dishonor?
Through dishonor. What is all this dishonor talk?
This story is making me sick. Is this the basis you want to start the next phase of your relationship on? If you love each other so much, why aren't you doing the honorable thing and getting engaged or married? You're both adults. Do what you will, but don't expect me to go along with it or be your friend or father.
Wow.
When you lie to me, betray me, and disrespect me.
Wow. Okay, I feel like this is some like cultural like there's some like deep-rooted cultural standards that the dad is adhering to.
Yeah. Golly. This is tough. This is tough to watch. You got to come from a loving perspective, not an accusatory perspective.
And this is, I mean, bro has taken accusatory to a level I've never seen before. In 2,000 stories. I have lost all respect for you and your girlfriend. You have destroyed our friendship and our relationship. So there you have it. So I got this email a few hours ago, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. I've been hoping, naively it seems, for the past month that we'll be able to work it out, but now it's pretty clear the only way I can salvage my relationship with my dad would be to not move in with my girlfriend next year. Of course, then he's got just as much control over me as when this started.
And now you're back to square one.
Correct. Back to square one. Katira Rain says this is classic authoritarian father. The Talmud says dad is a narcissist. Lady Morgan says cultural religion. Yeah, definitely. Kimberly Fine says not cultural, scorned narcissist. Yeah, I think there's something deeply rooted.
Scorned narcissist.
Something deeply rooted there. Yeah. Things will still be bad with him because of all of this, and I won't be living with my girlfriend. So I think my decision is pretty clear. Stand my ground and live with my girlfriend next year.
Ball's on you, OP.
Yes.
The ball's on you.
You've done literally all you can with the most grace and elegance and respect and empathy I've ever seen.
The balls are graceful.
Your balls, the most graceful balls I've ever had the pleasure.
Like you're bowling with them and they're hitting strikes every time. You got a turkey even.
The best balls I've ever feasted.
Best balls I've ever laid eyes on.
Ever. So congratulations to you and your respectable balls, OP.
Waxed up.
Smoother than silk.
Waxed. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Cold.
Lukewarm.
Something to rest your head on a warm day.
Ow. That's too much weight.
Some people like it though.
Oh God.
Why are you looking at me?
You
Not
said
the Zoom.
it. You got the idea.
Uh-oh. Now, my question for all of you
All of me.
is how should I move forward with my dad? I really don't want to lose my relationship with him. I feel like I'll regret it later in life if I don't continue doing everything I can to salvage my relationship with him. At least that way I can look back on it. I can reassure myself that I did everything I could and that our lack of a relationship is on him. On the other hand, would it be better for me to just cut my losses and move on? And we have some edits with some updates coming up.
Oh, boy.
But to answer OP's question, how should he approach
I think,
moving
honestly, just know your dad is being unruly. Like these things that he's saying are unjustified. And at a certain point, you just gotta live your life. Like you have two options, right? Preserve the relationship with your dad by living under his thumb, or escaping the thumb and living your own life at the risk of not having a relationship with your dad. And it's like, I think it's more important to live your life than to ensure that the relationship with your dad is good, because it's really a relationship outside of your control. You've done everything that you can on your side, and now the rest is up to him.
Yeah. I think all you can do is, like, in any type of interaction, just reiterate everything you've already said. Like, I feel like you've already said everything there is to say on this, and it's just I do, like, if I was OP though, maybe I would kind of have the hope of, like, all the kids will be exiled and he'll be, like, alone on the island. Maybe mom eventually comes over, and maybe that's the only thing that will make dad finally see, once all of his family has, like, once he's cut off all of his family, like, oh, maybe I am in the wrong.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like, not the only hope, but.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the brother immediately, so that's a win. As soon as he leaves the dad, he's got his excommunicated brother. Does seem like the mom, like you said, like the mom
she might
coming
eventually come over.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, live your most authentic life. Maybe the rest of them will come, and the dad will come at the very end.
Yeah, rally around brother.
But
and
you
sister.
can't expect that. That's the only thing.
Yeah, you can't expect it. That's very true. Yeah. Gotta prepare yourself.
Let us know what you think OP should do, or do anything differently. I would love to know in the chat below.
Yes, please let us know. But we have some edits. So I missed my girlfriend's name in one of the emails. Just a note. And then edit 2. Thanks for all the support, guys. I've tried to reply to as many of you as I can, but it's tough to keep up. Not a whole lot's changed. But at this point, I've decided to talk to my dad in person one last time, although he hasn't responded to my text about meeting. My plan is to make one last effort to work things out. I basically have no hope that it'll work out, but I'm going to try.
And OP's trying to do this in person?
He wants to do it in person, I think, because of how the dad was like, oh, someone's
how
real
dare you
maturity
do
would
this
come
online?
and talk about it in person.
No, I think that's good. Honestly.
Yeah. If things don't work out, though, I'll use the opportunity to start wrapping things up, because my life is pretty intertwined with my parents at this point. My dad is my landlord, but I have an official lease, so it's not like he can pump me out or raise my rent. That's good. I also bought my car for my dad, but he hasn't officially transferred it to me yet. Gotta love it. He will. We've talked about it. Shout out if you just read our hilarious censorship. As crazy as my dad is, he would never just steal thousands of dollars from me. I see you. I know that probably wouldn't be true in a lot of situations like this, so I can be thankful for that. Then there's things like the fact that my parents still pay for my cell phone, health insurance, car insurance. If things don't go well, I'll return my cell phone to them and ask me to take them off their car insurance. I will, however, ask them to not take me off their health insurance until I start grad school. I hate the idea of being dependent on them for anything if we can't work this out, but I simply can't afford health insurance, and I don't want to risk crippling debt if something happens between now and when I start grad school. Once I start school, I'll get health insurance as part of my fellowship. On another note, for those of you who have read my last post, you'll know that my sister is in a similar situation. To get everyone else up to speed, my dad wrote this in an email to my entire family when this all started. Sister has shown the maturity and respect to discuss the possibility of living with sister's boyfriend at some point with both her mom and I, both separately and together on several occasions. She's taking her time to consider the decision carefully and how her decisions impact everyone involved. That's exactly how a mature, considerate, respectful family member behaves. To do otherwise is to disrespect family in an egregious manner and to threaten the very existence of our familiar relationships. I just talked to my sister last night, and she told me things have gotten worse for her as well. We don't talk much. She lives in LA now, and we've never been super close. She said that my dad was fairly open to her living with her boyfriend, but since things fell out between me and my dad, he's given her the same ultimatum and will disown her if she moves in with her boyfriend. She's less determined to live with her boyfriend and is actually trying to live with a friend next year. But if that doesn't work out, she'll probably live with him. She can't afford to live alone. So it may turn out that my dad will have to cut 2 children at once.
I mean, when will the dad realize like this is not worth it?
I think again, like my kind of hope and what I would probably tell OP is like, hey, maybe, you're like being so respectful to your dad while also like standing your ground and living authentically and going for what you want, being with your partner. I think you should maybe simply encourage your siblings to do the same, and hopefully that yields the best
maybe you
life
can
from
unite.
them as
It's
well.
like a union,
Literally,
create your sibling union and then protest dad.
I feel like if anything, stop wasting time on dad. Start reconnecting with siblings, and rebuild the sibling family over here, and hopefully that will naturally make the dad realize, because he's alone on an island, that he effed up.
Yeah.
Big time.
Hey, ho ho.
Oh.
Excommunicating your children has got to go. Hey.
Ho ho. Excommunicating your children has got to go. That's a new chant. Get behind it. But we have update number 2.
All right.
Now, on to this update. I talked to my dad in person this time, so I don't have any emails to post this time. I'll do my best to summarize. Thank God.
Yeah.
After my last post, I decided to try and sort things out with my dad one last time by talking in person. It was my spring break last week, and I was originally supposed to go on a ski vacation with my family. I was uninvited, but I arranged to come up and talk. Yeah, they uninvited him.
So they're doing it.
They're already the process has begun.
The process of excommunicado.
And he hasn't even like. I guess he has basically said, I'm going to do it,
but he hasn't started living with his girlfriend even. He's just has said his intention.
Golly.
Wow.
Last Wednesday, I made the 2-hour drive up to them. In short, it went terribly.
Oh, no.
Who'da thunk it?
Oh, no.
I resolved to apologize to my dad for hiding my intentions from him and for allowing the situation to drag on for so long, but to hold my ground about my decision to live with my girlfriend. My dad didn't receive this well and held that, 1, I was not at all remorseful for hiding my intent to live with my girlfriend from him, and since I still intend to live with her, my apology doesn't change anything. 3, he is not disowning me, but my decision to live with my girlfriend makes me an unprincipled coward.
What? Dude, this guy has all these principles but has no idea how to use them.
Bro, he has all the principles that are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He has F- principles.
Hate him.
OP has A+ principles.
Mm-hmm.
As such, he does not respect or like me, and therefore doesn't want to talk to me or spend any time with me. He was very careful to put the blame for the ending of our relationship on me. My actions are forcing his response. We end up fighting for about 2 hours, and I made it clear to my dad that for me, the conflict is not really about wanting to live with my girlfriend, but about the nature of our relationship in general. Dude, OP stays standing on business. I love this guy.
Me too.
I love this guy.
Me too. Dude, he's holding his ground, which, that takes a lot of courage.
Dude, so much courage.
So much courage. And the dad's all saying, OP has no courage, has no scruples. But basically OP is showing exactly the kind of characteristics that dad says he wants in combating and pushing back on the dad.
And if he had, for example, said like, I've tried, this is too much, I need to walk away and go live my life, I'm here for you if you need to, but whatever, I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, protect your peace at this point. But like, he stays standing 10 tippy toes down.
Pretty great.
I told him that I don't feel in control of my life and that I don't base my decisions on what's right for me. I base them on how he will react. I essentially told him that he controls me and all of my siblings through emotional manipulation and that I wasn't going to take it anymore.
Big.
Again, I made it clear that I'm actually willing to compromise and not live with my girlfriend next year, but not because he threatened to cut me out of the family. Instead, I would only do so if I decided as a result of an open discussion where the ultimate decision was left up to me. I also told him that even if I decide to not live with my girlfriend next year, it doesn't really change anything about our current conflict. After the conversation, there was one point on which both agreed. Predictably, my dad did not take well to me calling him controlling, and eventually the conversation just devolved into verbal jabs at each other. After a while, we both just got tired of it and decided to stop. Things were worse, not better, and we were getting nowhere.
We're gonna continue to get nowhere. Like, is there how much more to the story is there? It feels
we've got like 10% left.
Okay, because I'm
we've got a little chunk left.
This is a saga.
Yeah,
This is a saga.
OP is who's like a Alexander the Great or whatever.
Yeah.
He led into battle with all of his army of reasonable empathetic,
takes. Yep.
communicative
And just
ideas.
got spat on.
And he just got freaking
Spat and shat
demolished. Now, at this point, I volunteered to leave. I didn't want to be there, and it was uncomfortable for everyone. However, my mom didn't want me to leave, and both she and my dad told me to not run away again, so I stayed. It was a terrible decision. I've never been more uncomfortable in my life. My dad completely ignored me and just shot me looks of disdain and hatred throughout the evening. I tried to talk to him a few times about various things, like my grad school visits, but he wanted nothing to do with me. It was actually a lot more painful than I expected to be so vehemently rejected by him. So eventually I gave up and resorted to binge watching TV on my laptop. The next morning, I woke up to my mom telling my little sister that they were going to leave after a few hours of skiing because it didn't feel like a vacation anymore. You are the most immature adult man father of all time.
He canceled the whole skiing trip.
The whole, do you not want to enjoy skiing? Do you not want to, you're probably wasting money, you probably can't get refunds. You're throwing money down the garbage.
He doesn't care, John. He's a man of principle.
Bro, the
money is no object for the principled man.
But that checks out, though, that this is a skiing family, not a snowboarding family. A snowboarding father would never do this. A snowboarding father would be chill. Ski father? No.
He'd be like, whatever you want, dude.
Yeah.
Just ride down the mountain.
Vibe out.
Pizza, French fries. If you move into your girlfriend, I will disown you.
Yeah. Pizza, French fries.
Yeah, I know what I did.
Yeah.
I know what I did, and I'm not going to change it.
It's the skis.
And I know you're going to all comment and say, oh, well, you did it wrong. I did. But it was still funny.
I liked it.
So laugh. Now I got up and I told my mom that they didn't have to go. I was planning on leaving that morning anyways. She just brushed me off and said they were going to leave regardless. She then told me that she couldn't believe I would say such hurtful things to my dad and that the son she knew would never be so mean. What about the husband you married? I told her that I simply told the truth and that I couldn't live under his thumb any longer. Well,
Which is also true.
While this was going on, my dad left to go skiing without a word. I then started to collect my things to leave, and my mom also left without saying a word. I tried to chase her down to say goodbye, but I couldn't find her, so I left without saying goodbye. We haven't spoken since.
Wow.
At this point, I'm not planning on trying to fix things with my dad anymore. While at the ski condo, I got him to sign my car over to me. I bought it from him for a very large amount of money 2 years ago, but he never transferred it to me. And I've also registered it, so I don't have to worry about him trying to steal it. I'm still on my parents' car insurance, health insurance, and cell phone plan. I intend to talk to them to remove me if our in-person conversation did not go well. But with my dad ignoring me so pointedly, I decided not to broach the issue. Yeah, bro. Listen, you've already been through enough. Get some free cell phone and health insurance for a bit. Like, my God. They should be, helping you out anyways. You're so on top of it. Like, come on. Instead, I'm just going to wait for him to make the move. I don't really have the ability to pay for these things until I start grad school and my fellowship begins, and I'm pretty upset that he's willing to throw our relationship away over such a petty issue. So at least right now, I'm happy to let him keep paying. If he chooses to cut me off, I'll do whatever it takes to get by, but if not, I'm not planning to cut these ties until my fellowship starts. By the way, if you want full episodes chock full of stories just like this, if you want 2,000 episodes for your listening pleasure, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite pod app and search OK Storytime to listen to all those episodes. We are almost done with this.
Dangerously close.
Dangerously close.
What is annoying right now is I really want there to be like a nice resolution, but the dad's such a butt. Like, I don't think we're going to get one.
I thought of one thing that OP didn't say, and that is
what?
Realizing that you only love me when I do what you want, and that me doing this thing causes you to not just not love me, but to kind of despise me.
Yeah.
Is like the most
unfather-like thing.
It's the most unfather-like thing
You are not
ever.
being a parent. You are being a dictator.
Yeah. And in that like OP gave him phenomenal feedback. He's doing nothing with, but gave him phenomenal feedback. I feel like that, maybe it wouldn't have broken through, but it's another thing I think he needs / kind of deserves to hear. Like, these are the consequences of you treating me, your son, like this.
Yeah.
The pain I feel.
All right, let's finish this thing up. Let's see what happens.
Let's close her out. So that's it. No real resolution. I think my relationship with my dad is irreversibly damaged, and while I believe we may be able to work things out eventually, I don't think we'll ever be able to be close again. I hurt him incredibly when I accused him of being controlling, and he has shown to me that his love for me is conditional at best.
Yep.
Oh.
If not non-existent.
Dude, guess whose love is unconditional?
Ours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that guy that he reads the book of? Yeah, that too. You can't, no. Gosh, no.
Who guy?
Which guy?
Well, if he's a Christian, that's unconditional love. They always talk about unconditional love. And he's like, my love is conditional for you? Bro.
Don't you remember Philippians 8:17? Thou shalt not move in with thine girlfriend, or dad will disown you and will call you a coward on thine email.
Wow.
Banger verse.
Quote.
Just saying. Now, thanks to everyone for following along with all the advice. I don't see there being any need to update anything in the future. And what do you know? There wasn't, because that's the end of the story.
Wow. I feel bad for OP, but in a much more real way, I don't feel bad. And let me tell you why.
Tell me.
Man is prepared for the world.
Dude.
Yeah,
he is going to have such a good, happy, healthy life with all the other relationships that he creates from henceforth. This relationship with his dad will be the worst relationship in his life, and everything else is going to be gravy, because wow, does that kid know how to communicate.
So good.
He probably
So
has
good.
a massive hog too.
Oh, don't you know it? Dr. Dong. That's what they're going to call him after he graduates.
This much confidence, there's no way he doesn't have a hog.
That's right.
My fiance is drowning in child support payments. I'm rethinking our wedding.
I think you should think about a boat.
So, first thing I want to say is I love my fiance. He's a great guy, a wicked smart, kind,
Wicked
funny,
smart.
wicked
Also, this
smart.
is whip smart.
Oh, I mean, what does that mean? Who knows what that
Like
means?
he's like whip smart.
That no one says.
Like
Whip smart, kind, funny. And a year and a half ago, I would have never have imagined I'd be at this point. Oh, we've been dating for 5 years ever since we met. He works at a call center and I'm a postal worker. We make a moderate income and the wedding is tentatively in April. Small courthouse wedding with a tasteful reception afterwards.
tasteful reception.
By the way, this comes from Boyfriend Drowning in CP. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime. So I apologize in advance for the legal gobbledygook. He hasn't really kept me in the loop, and I'm a mail carrier, not a lawyer. I don't have a head for this. So 1 year into our relationship, he got a notice for paternity from the state he used to live in for a 3-year-old boy.
Whoa.
You just get a letter in the mail when
You have a boy.
you have a boy.
3 years later?
That's crazy. That's like
getting served.
That's
yeah.
like-
But with a whole child that has a personality,
You got
that kid.
served with a kid.
You know what you do? You wait like 7 more years. You send your child to live behind like an orchestra house, and then you casually like happen to run into him on the street while he's playing the guitar. And
Yeah,
really
but finger style.
Yeah,
Finger style. Yeah.
And you're like, never give up on your dreams. And I think you're maybe
And then you
Irish.
take him into, isn't it a different church?
Yeah, or something.
And then you teach him how to busk
and
on
then
the
you
street.
say, "What's your name, little boy?" And he goes,
Wow.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
So yeah, turn those lemons into lemonade, I guess.
Turn
Yeah.
those little
Put that child to
turn those
work.
random children that show up on your door in 3 years into prodigies.
So clearly, this happened way before I met him. He thought it was ridiculous, but took the ordered DNA test, and turns out he is the father.
You are the father.
Yeah, well, you don't just get mail in the 3 years later if they're not pretty sure.
I mean, how do you test that though?
DNA.
Or with a
DNA.
paternity test, but does he have to take it? I guess it's court ordered.
It seems like it's a court
Uh-huh.
order. Yeah.
Turns out he is the father. Insert Mari audience catcalling here.
What?
Like the Mari thing.
What?
It's like the are you the father? Are you the dad? Whatever that show is. Paternity
No.
court something.
You are not the father.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
The mother was apparently mentally unwell, and it turned out the boy was in the custody of the grandparents. They offered to adopt the boy if my fiance gave up all his paternal rights, and he jumped at the offer. So he's like, take
It's like,
this
fine,
kid.
take this 3-year-old
away from
I'll
me."
find him in 7 years.
They pulled some strings. I've heard it's supposed to be hard, but we literally flew down to his old state on the date they told him to, signed some papers in front of a judge, and that was that. Cleaned
That's
my hands
wild.
of that 3-year-old kid.
That's kind of wild. Like, imagine being in that relationship. Like, imagine being.
What do you think? Would you like? Let's say you were dating someone,
Yeah.
and even if it was like a couple months of relationship,
Yeah.
and they get served with a child and they sign away their kid. Does that make them think of you? Like, does that make you think of them any differently?
Probably. I mean, we heard that he jumped at the chance.
Jumped.
I think if someone jumped at the chance to just sign away the rights for their child, and also the fact that they find out 3 years later, I'll be like,
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be.
I don't think I would necessarily. Like, I'm not saying that it's not necessarily the right decision for him to
Yeah.
give up those rights, because probably the grandparents can provide him a
Mhm.
better life, or the child a better life. But like,
but the
but
jump,
the jumping,
the jump. You know,
yeah,
I at least want a little bit internal conflict,
yeah,
You
maybe
know?
like a
well
running
jump.
start
Yeah.
into a dive,
or like
but just an
a
immediate
fast
jump?
walk.
Yeah,
Yeah, a fast walk to it, but a jump is a little bit much.
yeah.
Maybe even a skip. Well, I personally am ambivalent about the whole thing. It seemed like he just gave up all the rights to his son without a care, but in the end, it's his business, not mine. I told myself I would be a supportive stepmother if the boy ever came to him for help/answers when he was older. There was some messy legal business about arrears child support because the mother apparently was on welfare for years, and the state wants repayment from the fiance
Wait, but a
as
lot of
child support because she was on welfare from the state. So he owes child support back payments, I guess.
But I'm wondering, because a lot of people are saying in the chat that if he gave up parental rights, then he doesn't owe
Child support?
child support. But maybe
But
it's
I guess,
the back payment.
yeah, like maybe it's like it's a 3 years
But-
that the state was paying. So he only
How is
gave up
that?
parental rights 3 years later. And now the grandparents are taking control of that.
But how is that? I mean, like, I guess this is how it works, but it doesn't seem sensical to me if someone didn't know they were a parent. Like, let's say, someone finds out 16 years later because
16
like
years
the
of back
birth
payments.
month. Yeah, the birth. Like, can you get someone for
Yeah.
16 years of back payments?
I believe so, based on this. Is that true? Let
I
us
don't think
know
that could possibly be true.
I feel
in
like
the
it's
chat.
more common than we think.
I don't know much about it because he refused to share, only that it's around $20K for 3 years. Dang! 20K. Sophia, you're a mess. A couple of years go by. I take fiance to the DMV to renew his license because it's way past expired and he won't do it. Lo and behold, it's suspended. I wonder why.
His
But I see you in the
license is
chat.
suspended?
His license is suspended.
But that's what you redo it for.
Why? Past due child support
Oh.
judgment for
That's crazy.
another child.
No.
A
No way.
separate child. A 12-year-old
What?
girl. And it's $30,000 for this kid.
Wait, did he know about this child?
Fiance is literally sick, and I mean, he threw up all night. So
Man.
sounds like he didn't know. But also, how is he finding out about these kids so late?
Yeah.
Worse, in order to get his license suspended, he had to contact child support department in his old state and give them all his current info, where he works, where he lives. And soon enough, a notice comes through HR.
No.
He's going to be garnished 25% of his after-tax pay because of the child support judgment. 25%.
What does that mean?
It means that after taxes, the government's taking 25% of his pay. So if he's paid let's say he's paid, $1,000 after taxes, they're taking $250 of that.
Yeah. Okay. And if someone had like taxes coming up soon, and they were being paid by a company, how would you help with their taxes?
I think you would go online and you would research it.
Get on that real quick.
You should get on that.
No, this isn't for me.
You should get on that.
This isn't for me.
Just saying, I'm saying hypotheticals.
This is your coming of age
This is
moment
for OP's boyfriend.
as an adult.
No, this is not me. I'm ready. I'm fine.
I'm sure you are. Reddit, he just shut down after that. Stonewalls any conversation regarding the issue at all. I took up more of the bills, but now we're both struggling. We have had to move into a smaller, crappy apartment using my credit alone because his has a big fat judgment on it. He had to refinance his almost paid off car because he couldn't afford the high payments. And there's some kind of hearing coming up. I don't know what it's about because he flatly refuses to tell me. I think maybe it's to adjust the payments based on his current income, which has grown due to a promotion. Okay, at least we got somebody coming up.
How many secret babies would it take for you to
break up with someone?
Yeah. Like they don't know about the babies either.
I mean, I think something we've said on the show is like, the past is the past. And we want to take people for who they are. But if who you are.
How many?
How many?
How many?
Depends how long I'm dating. Like a month, I'm out.
No, it's not a month. It's however long OP's been dating.
One secret baby for every 5 years of marriage.
Okay.
Either way, he hasn't bought plane tickets. Or rather, hasn't asked me for the money because he can't afford them. I think he's not going. It'll be an automatic judgment against him. Here's the thing. He could request a DNA test for the girl. He hasn't. You totally should to make sure that's actually your kid. Though he has told me he's certain he's not the father.
He's like, I'm not the father. I'm not the father.
Thank God. Thank God.
No, he's just saying that. He's just going, I'm manifesting this right now. I'm not the father.
He could hire an attorney. I've offered to front the cost, but he has 1,000 excuses. He had to get one in another state. They gouge him because he wasn't there. He doesn't have the time. Excuse. The hearing is in 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on, and he's so passive about it that I'm worried. So I opened up an official looking notice he received a few months back, but never bothered to open. You're joking.
No.
There's a third child.
What is this man doing?
Yeah, this guy's got.
What is
strong
this man
seed.
doing?
Oh my goodness.
No,
This
but the
guy's
thing
potent.
He must just be, I mean, his reflexes are definitely not strong at the very least.
No. But like, I don't even think that's the crazy thing for me because people have accidental children all the time. How does this man have 3 secret children? How is he finding 3 people that aren't telling him that they had a child with him until 3 to 12 years later?
To get pregnant, you have to be doing it raw for like a year.
Well, not necessarily.
I mean,
like,
for like on average. On
No.
Look on the average time it takes for a couple to get pregnant.
Average time. The average time to conceive for healthy couples is around 6 months.
Okay.
But it's normal for some couples to take longer, up to a year.
Okay, so that's
6 months to a year. Do I know women?
So let's say like 6 months over one person, and then we have X over 100s. That's 600. I don't know.
There is a third child. This one is a brother of the girl. Maybe the hearing is actually about him.
Oh.
God dang it. I just don't know. He has actually left the house for a long walk. When I questioned him a few weeks back, man needs more than a long walk. I am not a nagging person. Asking him to deal with his BS is uncomfortable for me too.
Hold on, though. Because unless this boy is a twin, then he saw that woman twice. The one he had a 12-year-old girl with.
She hid right.
She would have had to hide the
This
child.
is suspicious.
Either he's hiding or she was hiding.
If I have to confront him with an ultimatum, we've reached the point of no return. But I'm almost there. I think you should be there.
Yeah, man.
I
You're
love my
almost there?
fiance. He's $50K
Oof.
for the first boy and girl in debt that will haunt him for the foreseeable future. He won't do anything about it, just sticks his head in the sand and hopes it goes away. Maybe he's depressed. He
He's
acts
definitely
normal
depressed.
as if none of this is happening.
He's gaslighting himself.
There might be more on the way with the third child. If I stay with him, I'll never be able to buy a house. I will have to make all major purchases on my credit alone, and we can never combine income. He has abandoned 3 children. I don't know the full stories of the relationship between him and the mothers, other than it was painful and full of lies. One is his biological child for sure. The other 2 are a question, but they may as well be in the eyes of the state. He doesn't care about them other than the bi-weekly garnishment on his paycheck. As far as I understand, he's never asked about them once. I had a pregnancy scare last month. Well, actually, I found out I had been pregnant via miscarriage. Oh, no condolences needed. Never mind. I didn't tell him. It's done. But the first thought in my head after I realized what came out was my child would have been the 4th in line for any support if things went south. Who says he wouldn't abandon me too? We do plan on having children eventually. My heart loves this guy. My head says I'll be throwing away my financial future if I stick with him. What does Reddit say? And there's an update the next day. But what do you think, Sophia? Should OP listen to the heart that says I love him or the head that says I will be financially ruined if I stay with this guy?
Head. And also, I feel like OP is, I mean, in part rightfully so, thinking about the financials. But, I think she's thinking about them too much, you know? She's like, oh, I'm leaving him because of finances. That feels so cruel. It's like, no, you're leaving him because he has 3 secret children.
Yeah, and I feel
that
like
he's not even thinking about.
Yeah, the financials are worrisome.
They are
but I think
worrisome, of
what's
course.
more worrisome is like the potential lies that are embedded in this whole scenario.
The potential lies, the fact that he's now trying to abandon kind of 3 children that he has some responsibility for.
Maybe the 2 children are questioned, but he's paying. He's accepting pay, like he's accepting that he's paying for them.
Yeah, even though the 2 children are a question mark, he's not putting in any effort to figure out, if they are his.
Yeah.
And
he's
that's also a problem.
he's basically acting as if they are his.
Yeah.
But saying that they aren't.
Yeah, this man is ostriching.
Yeah. But we got an update.
Secret children.
Secret children. So unfortunately, someone linked my previous post from another subreddit, so the post was locked and deleted. The basic gist was my fiance had stuck his head in the sand and was ignoring child support notices and hearings to the tune of $50,000 for children conceived way before our relationship started. After the second surprise child, he had completely shut me out on the subject. I opened up some of his forgotten mail and saw there was a notice for a third child. And to recap, baby 1, 3-year-old boy,
Yes.
he was able to give up his paternal rights in favor of the mother's grandparents because the mother had mental health issues. $20,000 child support in what is that? Arrears? Arrears? What is that? How does he pronounce that? Baby 2, 12-year-old girl, $30K ongoing child support. I don't know the story behind this one, and he isn't talking. Baby 3, brother of the 12-year-old girl. The birth date was on the paperwork, but he took that letter with him. Thank you for all the comments, PMs, and valuable feedback from my other posts. The ones that told me I too was sticking my head in the sand. Honestly, good point.
Yeah.
Really put it in place with me and did the ones who gave me professional, as did the ones who gave me professional insight that it was simply not possible for him to have been completely blindsided with all 3 children.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
no,
with the
it
brother
isn't.
thing.
The brother thing. It either the brother's older or younger. He would have known, or he should have known, unless the mother was some kind of schemer who hid the child away.
The children, yeah.
Unless they were meeting at like a hotel or something.
Yeah.
He should have You should have known something about that other child. Kirsch says, Elon, is this you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm the only scenario I could see for those other two kids is he was having an affair with this person consistently and didn't know about the children.
I think so.
And then those children came from another partner or something. That wasn't a marriage. But again, pretty sus. Caitlin Van Campen says, bro was running from the child support payments and the child support finally caught up.
Yep.
I think that is probably the most likely scenario. Arrears.
Back payment.
So I was in a mood when he got home tonight. I showed my fiance, who I'm now calling Johnny Appleseed, thanks to a previous commenter, the letter I opened about the third child. Luckily, he didn't get all huffy about me opening his mail because I was not in the mood. Johnny's face just fell. I think we're getting the truth. We're going to get the truth. And he said it was impossible for him to be the father of the third child. He didn't know about it, not having opened his child support mail over the last few months. That the mother of the 12-year-old child had won child support judgment against him for the girl and now was clearly looking for more. I told him I thought that was BS and I wanted the truth now, that I'd been looking through his old state's law and the courts can't have ruled him the father of a 12-year-old without evidence. He pulled his usual Stonewall stuff, said it didn't matter because there was a judgment against him. He was screwed for life. He actually started to cry. I kept on him, and he finally told me the truth. The truth comes out, baby.
Give it to me.
So he and the baby mama were in love since they were teenagers, but it was an on and off relationship. She was drama. She got pregnant, and he was there for her. But right before the baby was born, she told him he wasn't the father.
You are not the father.
He was stubborn and proud and still signed the birth certificate, but he left her soon after at her request and didn't have any contact. Why didn't he get a DNA test? It was expensive and his heart was broken.
But he still has some sort of like...
Out. He still isn't out.
Well, no, but he still has some sort of responsibility because he signed the birth certificate.
Yeah, but if you can prove that paternity was false, if you can prove the paternity fails, then you could get out of it. By the end of this, he was crying. I started crying too, and I told him I can't marry him right now with all this going on.
Finally.
Yes. Oh my
Finally.
God.
I mean, he
finally.
lied to you about that.
Yeah. OMG, did he go instantly from sorrowful to pissed? He kept asking me how I could do this, that I knew about the child support going in, and that he'd always been honest with me.
That's not true. You just admitted to lying.
The truth, yeah. No, he'd said nothing or insinuated she put his name on the birth certificate. Not the same as honesty. That he knew baby mom was trying yet again to ruin his life. And the judgment was already in. There was nothing he could do because the courts always ruled in the favor of the mother. There was no point in trying. This was all her fault for trying to ruin his life. And by taking her side over him, I was letting her.
Oh my goodness. This man is just doing the whole woe is me routine.
Yeah. Reddit, I'd like to say I threw in some good zingers. The fact is, when things get heated, my brain stalls out. I said some things about how he was handling the situation, keeping me locked out of what was going on with the upcoming hearing. And if he kept blowing this off, he could go to jail. But my delivery sounded kind of lame, even to me. It's never like how I practice it in my head or can type it out here, you know? Then he started asking me if this was about a male coworker I had once given a ride home like 3 months ago if I had an affair with him.
He's deflecting.
He is deflecting. He's trying to get the conversation away from all of
because
his
he can't
junk.
take responsibility.
He can't take responsibility. I mean, he can't take
responsibility
of
for
3
12
kids.
years.
Yeah. Oh, what the F? No, I took off his ring, his grandmother's, and told him to take it.
Ooh.
That he needed to move out tonight, stay with someone else, and give me some space. The wedding was off, and I needed a few days to consider the rest of the relationship. Good idea. Definitely a step back. He kept asking me why. Like he couldn't believe I was breaking off the wedding because of a little old thing like $50K in debt, 3 surprise children, and a complete shutdown of the subject and the lying. Then he called me shallow, that money means more to me than love.
That's so funny. That's so funny. This man will do anything but look in a mirror.
I mean, he
You Tina
can't.
Turner right now. What's love got to do with this?
Mm-hmm. Well, it went on, but I'm already sick of reliving this. He does swear there is no possibility of any more surprise children, period. He packed a duffel full of clothes and left, having convinced himself that I was either cheating on him or shallow and money hungry. So I spent the evening rereading comments. I've done the right thing, right? And browsing for rent signs, also the right thing. The lease is in my name only because of the judgments on his credit reports. Ugh, this is what I've become, lying to landlords because of my irresponsible fiancé. He probably has some sort of resident rights anyway. Meh, at least he's out of the apartment for now. I texted him a long message about an hour ago. Johnny, before we join our lives together, I need to know you can handle your responsibilities like an adult. Go to the hearing. I will help you with a lawyer, with a plane ticket, whatever. If you treat me like a partner, maybe we can rebuild our relationship. I love you.
Girl.
Is she doing this like...
Girl.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Don't
I know
give
she
him
loves
out.
him, but
He's terrible.
I understand wanting to give someone a second chance.
But you've given this man 3 chances.
You've given him so many chances already, and he's shown that he's like lying. And I think this giving him another chance is just because maybe you want to stay comfortable in the relationship.
I mean,
Yeah, and also with the last comment too. Yeah, Dutch Cassandra says, especially after that last moment, like open your
he
eyes.
accused you of cheating on him because you told him
Yeah.
that it wasn't okay that he isn't taking care of any of his problems.
He hasn't answered. I hope he listens to reason once he cools down. He has so many good qualities.
I doubt that they outweigh the bad.
I had to share the very worst in my post to you all. You'd be an excellent father if you wanted visitation, and I'm willing to put into the work to sort this out and move forward with these kids if he is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would be an excellent president if I wanted to be president. What?
If my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike.
There's a lot of work to be done here. And I think a lot of work that you can't do. He needs to do a lot of work on his own. I'm not saying you can never be together, but what I am saying is please, 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 please be separate for a while.
I mean, be separate at least until he figures his stuff out.
Yeah. He's convinced himself he is screwed for life. And I think it's paralyzed him. It's a terrifying place to be. I know. Basically, everyone wanted me to punt him to the curb, but I'm hoping this break is enough of a come to Jesus moment for him to prove he's not an irresponsible person. Basically, if he wants to fight for this relationship, he has got to go to the hearing, handle his business, get on a payment plan, and keep on it. Then seek relationship counseling. Lots and lots of relationship counseling. Then we'll see. I still may break up permanently. Okay, that's good. But at least he'll have sorted out a thing or two. Maybe I'm just holding on to hope. What do you think, Sophia? I think for sure.
Yeah, you're holding on to hope more than...
Yep. More than what? More than what? More. Yep.
Spider-Man.
Yep. Holds on to a web.
The webs.
Yep. That was great. So that's it. I really wish I had thought of something awesome to say during the argument, like maybe I'm holding on to hope harder than Spider-Man holds on to webs.
Exactly.
But life isn't a movie.
No, it's
not
a highway.
There we go. She's on it.
Boom.
Ball is in his court.
Ball is life.
Let's see if he mans up or not. Anyone been through anything like this before? I hope not.
I think you may be the first.
I did blindside him a little because I too had been way too passive in letting this slide. How do I help him help himself? And we got an update. It might feel like, oh, I'm abandoning him when he needs it.
Yeah.
But like in actuality, you were letting him solve his own problems and harness his own independence. Yeah, and be an adult.
The thing is that I'm sure that nobody really is prepared to take care of 3 secret children.
No.
But when it happens, your responsibility to take care of it.
He hasn't answered the text with the offer to help. I've called the landlord and requested a new lock for the door. He's not on the lease, and it's probably not legal. But as someone pointed out, and I agree, he's adverse to going to courts. Responses have been passionate. I don't think I was clear. We're essentially done. I turned his grandmother's ring, told him to give me space. If he accepts help and steps up to his obligations to his children with no backsliding, only then will I consider taking him back. Not for immediate marriage. JFC, I'm not insane.
No.
What does that mean? What's JFC?
Jesus effing Christ.
Not to get pregnant, as some lovely commenter suggested, but considering it's morning and he still hasn't answered the text, it probably doesn't matter. Yeah, I think he's given
The thing is,
everything
like,
that he needs to say.
it sounds like you were willing to give him a chance, but he's already given up on your relationship. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
again,
And he's shown through his actions. But we got some relevant comments. Hopefully these relevant comments are saying, girl, wake
get
up.
out of there.
Wake up!
But we got some relevant comments. So a pretty dirt unalive says he would be an excellent father if he wanted visitation. What? He would be a doctor if he graduated medical school.
Yes.
He would be a millionaire if he had won the Powerball. If he had wings, he'd be a bird. What he is a total failure as a father at times 3. He participated in the creation of 3 little ones, abandoned them emotionally and financially, and now complains that they are a burden. 3 children growing up fatherless, which will color their lives forever because of him. This is the depth of compassion and empathy that he is capable of. This is how he treats the truly powerless and dependent, even though he has every legal and moral obligation to support them because there's nothing in it for him. His maybe they're not mine excuse is a total load of BS because if he had an iota of humanity in him, he'd care enough to find out. And OP responds to this, Sophia.
No.
But yeah, what do you think about that comment?
The thing is, I completely agree. If he believed that these children were truly not his,
Then he would
take
have no
a DNA
problem.
test.
Yeah,
he would take
no
a DNA
problem.
test. He would say, yeah. He believes in his heart that they are his.
Yeah.
He knows in his heart that they are his.
I feel like we have like delusion on 2 levels here.
Absolutely.
We have the delusion of this guy who is, I guess, deluding himself thinking that he
If he
is not
doesn't
responsible for
confront
these
anything,
kids. And if he
yeah.
doesn't confront everything, it'll go away. And then we have delusional OP that thinks that if she gives this husband another chance, he'll turn into this model father and model partner. And I just don't think we have any evidence of that.
Nope.
But OP responds, okay, this did make me laugh. You have a point. And update 2 1 month later.
Ooh-wee. See if he went to any of his court hearings.
I don't think so. I don't know where to start. After I called off the wedding and returned his grandmother's engagement ring, he packed a duffel full of his clothes and left. It's been about a month and I haven't heard a peep from him. I changed the locks on the apartment, but he hasn't been back for his stuff anyway. He blocked me on Facebook and then and when I gave in and tried to give him a call a week later, he changed his phone number too. This is his MO.
Yeah.
This is his MO.
He does this. I mean, he's done this to 3 children.
Also, what's crazy is she had a miscarriage. So it could have been 4.
The blocking, I bet he does this to everyone.
He does this to all
blocks
his women.
the women,
Mhm.
and then when they try and reach out to him to tell him that they have children, they can't reach him.
He's got a system. I heard he was staying at his best bro's house, courtesy of bro's girlfriend. Trust me, I went through all the stages of grief, denial, anger, acceptance, etc., and I finally accepted he wasn't coming back. I thought maybe he'd gone back to his home state to be one of the baby mamas, but his car was parked in the parking lot at his work. I may have drove past once or twice. The hearing was scheduled for early this week, and finally tonight I plucked up the courage and went to Best Bro's house to confront him. Why? I think just let him be. Let him be, you know? Like you don't get involved in him.
You're like, okay, I'm gonna confront him and tell him that he can either change or leave, and it's like he's left.
He's left. He's given
He's
up on
already
the
left.
relationship. The least he could do is get his crap out of my apartment, right? I grabbed up his many unopened child support notices. We know this is not the reason, right? She just wants to see him.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not. If you really didn't care about him and the relationship, you would probably just put his stuff in a trash bag and leave it there.
Exactly.
And a picture of boy number 1 he left on his dresser. It's the only picture of the 3 kids that he has, and he left it behind because he doesn't care.
Does not care about
Best
this
bro answered the door, and what follows about the most awkward conversation ever. I can't remember the conversation verbatim, but I asked where ex-fiancé was, and Best bro said he wasn't there. He was being all evasive, and I asked if he went to the hearing or not, and Best bro looked confused. What hearing? I told him the child support hearing for his 3 kids. Best bro looked super confused, like I was crazy. Then he asked if I was seeing anyone else other than ex-fiancé. I said, of course I wasn't. I gave Best bro a very abbreviated version, punted ex-fiance out because he was ignoring his child support from his baby mamas. He had a hearing earlier this week. I was getting loud because I'd been bottling this up, and best bro's girlfriend came out to see what was going on. She's the one who told me, her exact words, your man lost his dang mind. But I think we're going to see what happened.
Yeah.
Or kids.
More, yeah. And he went
like-
on a bender, and now there's 10 baby mamas.
Oh, man.
The weekend after I punted him out, he went to a bar with his best bro for
Oh,
some
my God.
good old girl bashing.
What?
Wait, what? I read ahead.
That's what I'm saying. I
He
read it.
met up with some 22-year-old bartender and hooked up. Read it. He married her last weekend, drove up to Reno, we're a couple hours from the Nevada border, and did the whole Chapel of Love thing.
Where is
Best
he finding
bro
these women?
He's
and his
spiraling.
girlfriend were the witnesses. They hadn't really supported his decision, but he had convinced them I was a cheating witch, and he was heartbroken. Plus, best bro's girlfriend implied later that he'd overstayed his welcome by crashing at their house for most of a month. I was shocked and pissed and wanted to cry because I sort of got the vibe that best bro still didn't believe I wasn't cheating. So I grabbed the court documents from my car and gave them to him to pass along to my ex. I doubt they'll open them up, but the fact that they're from Old State County's Child Support Division should be good enough evidence. I don't know why I should care about their opinion. Neither one of them called me during this. I thought I was their friend too, but they believed him. Now I'm back home surrounded by his crap and trying to sort out my feelings, put the crap in trash bags and put it on best bro's doorstep. I feel like I've just watched someone blow through all the bridges out warning signs and drive off a cliff. I told my ex I'd help him get a lawyer for the hearing, help him with a plane ticket instead of taking care of his business. He went and married some chick he'd known for like 2.5 weeks at most. I think I'm not in the mood to drag out the calendar. Let's be generous and call it 3 weeks. I should feel bad for the girl, his new wife, what the F, for what she's just gotten into, but she must either be a real piece of work herself or just an idiot who marries someone they've known for that short of a time.
Stupid person.
And I know someone out there is thinking, you're an idiot. He had to have known her for longer. He was cheating before this. Well, I'm certain he wasn't. He's a homebody by nature. There was never any missing time in a relationship, and best bro is pretty clear they'd met at the bar that night. So basically, instead of going to his child support hearing, he was moving in with his new wifey and probably doing what newly married people do. I hope they're happy together. Of course I don't. I guess my next stop is the legal advice subreddit to figure out what to do with this stuff. He might have a contempt of court warrant out for him for skipping the hearing, so I doubt he'll sue me if I toss it all away. But I do want to cover my butt. By the way, if you want to cover your butt with audio going into your ears, go listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but it feels like OP is finally getting the message that
Really?
this guy is not coming back.
Well, like it took her a while,
Took her a while.
and it took her boyfriend marrying someone else in Reno.
I know.
Which is kind of shocking.
Way
But
too
it does
long.
seem again like his MO. He engages or he marries or whatever.
He has a
makes-
system. Man works quick.
He makes these women think that they are the love of his
Yep.
life,
And he's like,
then
"I
the
want a baby."
second that they say, "Hey, dude,"
What about these 3 baby mamas?
he goes, "I'm
ya."
out," and he blocks him.
So let's get into this end of the story. I know I need to ask a question, so here it is. What in the world was he thinking? Out of all the options he had to pick, he picked the very worst. What was she thinking? I loved the man, but even I can admit he's not classically good looking. He had nothing to offer but a low-paying job and being practically homeless. And finally, what is wrong with me that I feel terrible? He's found some new way to F up his life. Hey, that's love, OP. Sucks, but maybe you can choose more wisely in love next time. Hopefully. But oh my gosh, that was a doozy.
Truly.
All right, we got one more story in that episode. I'll be right back.
My dad came to my apartment with gifts for my kids, but I don't have kids.
There's 2 options: secret family or like dementia, Alzheimer's diagnosis incoming.
Uh-oh.
So if either of those things are something you can't handle, I would not listen to the story.
So I will reiterate again that I do not have any kids and I'm not married. I have never been married, never even moved in with a man. Here are the people I can think of that might have been involved in this somehow. I have one brother, 27 male, and one sister, 22 female. By the way, this comes from Top Sunday Girl, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/Okie Storytime subreddit. So, brother is in a long-term relationship with a nice woman, but they're both not interested in kids right now. Sister still lives at our mom's house, no kids, no long-term partner. My parents are divorced and my mom remarried. Dad is still single. He lives with my uncle, 40s male, and uncle's wife, 40s female. Stepdad is fine. They got married after I was out of the house. Sister reports that they're normal and beige together.
I mean, but they're two beige peas in a beige pod.
If you're both beige, you can be happy beige together.
Beige bees.
He has no kids and he has never met my dad anyways, so his family can be removed from the equation. Here's what happened. I have a crappy low rent apartment about 45 minutes away from my dad's house. It's on the 3rd floor and you have to walk into the apartment building and up flights of stairs to reach my door. Yesterday around 6 p.m., my dad knocks on my apartment door. I wasn't expecting him, so when I answered, I was confused but pleasantly surprised. I greeted him normally and he gave me a side hug because he had a few toy boxes in his hand, like Fisher-Price toys for really young kids, even babies. I didn't say anything about them because I had no reason to assume they were for me. Like, I just didn't even register them in my brain. He looked totally normal. He wasn't breathing weird, wasn't sweaty, his pupils weren't huge, nothing was off with him visually. When we hugged, I didn't smell anything weird, no booze or smoke or anything, but my face wasn't too close to him. I said I was happy he dropped by, but why is he here? He said he was in the area shopping when he saw these toys, which he then held up for me proudly, and wanted to give them to the girls. I said, who? And he gave me 2 names I didn't recognize. I remember my brain sorting through the Rolodex of everyone I had ever met in our family, Terminator style, and nobody matched. As I'm standing there trying to match the names to any kids I knew of, he peeks over my shoulder into the apartment and asks if the kids are here or if they're with Mike. Again, who is that? Apparently it's my husband? I must have been radiating confusion since now my dad is looking just as confused as I am, but still keeping up a good mood kind of vibe. I tell him I'm not married and have no kids. At first he insisted I did, and when I reiterated that, he just kind of shook his head. At this point, I'm getting really concerned. Is my dad lost? Confused? Is he having some kind of breakdown? I ask my dad if he knows where he is. He starts to get frustrated really quickly and confirms that yes, he knows where he is and who I am. I start to ask him questions that I've seen in movies, like, do you know what time it is? Or the year? And he just gets more and more angry. He starts shouting at me right in my face, yelling, you think this is funny? Are you trying to make me look stupid?
Oh no.
There's bubbles of spit in the corner of his mouth. He went from 0 to 100 so fast, it genuinely kind of scared me. And I just kind of retreated a bit into my apartment. When I backed away, he took it as a personal offense and started screaming, you're scared of me? Guess I'll just F off then.
This is dementia, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, absolutely. Ugh.
So
That's very hard because it's also a very scary thing for the person, obviously, who's going through it.
Yeah.
Who has doesn't understand what's going on. Yeah. And then that fear of not knowing what's going on and being like, wait, I am confused. And not understanding why you're confused. It's scary.
Like also, the aggression comes out so quickly.
Yeah.
Partially because of, the disease can cause that, but then it's also just like, it's very natural, I think, for people who are cemented in their,
their whole world, his whole worldview is being, shaken.
Yeah. He's
in this moment.
So in that, he's like, you're going to deny that, viciously.
Yeah. He storms off, literally stomping his feet like a child down the hallway. I thought about chasing him, but he was so irate that I didn't think it was a smart move. Whole interaction was less than 5 minutes. I closed and locked my door and immediately started making phone calls. Called my mom, uncle, and siblings. Nobody has any idea what just happened. I did ask my mom and sister if I was the crazy one and did have children I just forgot about, and they confirmed I certainly didn't.
Well,
he's like, did I just have a breakdown on my end?
It's good. Good on you for covering your bases, OP. Yeah. You're like, I just need to confirm I don't have kids that I've lost.
Uncle says that dad left the house around 4 p.m. to run errands in my area. So that part was true. I told him what happened and he said he'd try to figure out what was going on and would call with updates. It's tomorrow morning and I haven't heard anything back. I spent all night trying to figure this out. Here are my theories. He has another kid somewhere that none of us know about and that kid is married with 2 kids. But if that's true, why my apartment?
Yeah.
Did he confuse me with his other hidden kid? He confirmed he knew where he was, so I'm not sure.
If that was the case, I feel like he would have.
Yeah.
He would have like
He would have
been like, oh, like
LOL. Yeah.
What joke time.
No,
I'm
I
playing
feel like
a joke.
this has to, just given that reaction, it has to be some sort of dementia.
Yeah.
Did he drive here on autopilot? He'd have to get out of his car and walk all the way up here, though, which should have been on enough time to snap out of it. The anger might have come from him realizing what he'd done and panicking, but it would have been so easy to make up a lie about what happened. He had some kind of mental breakdown. This was my first thought, but he looked and acted so normal. He drove out here and went to a store and purchased items without issue, so he must have been in decently sound mind to do that. Maybe he was somewhere else in his mind? I considered the idea that he was maybe in the past and thought I was someone else. But again, he confirmed where he was and who I was and didn't recognize any of the names as anyone in our family. He did this on purpose for some reason. I have no idea why he would do this. Drama? Our whole family loves to stir the pot, but this is extreme and makes him look bad, which is out of character. If he were to manufacture drama, he'd want to make himself look good. So this would be a drastic switch in his dramatics. Maybe sympathy, maybe he's going to play this up as some kind of stress breakdown. As far as I know, his job doesn't squeeze him too much. He's at the same position for years and was pretty happy with it. The most he complained about was having to work overtime every once in a while. He's developing dementia.
Okay, this
is what I
was like, please tell me OP doesn't just try to ignore that and pretend like it's not a possibility.
I know early onset dementia could be the cause, but he's just barely 50. Yeah, he's getting older, but not that old, and he's never shown any signs of cognitive failure up until this point. This is a huge escalation from nothing. That's what I was thinking, because usually it does kind of, I mean, it can be quick, but it usually you start to see signs. Like it's like forgetting names,
That's why I think this might be like literally the first moment, which would also explain why he was so angry.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the anger would be like the disease itself, but it's just the reaction of like, that's a parent. They've always been there. They've had the authority. They've had the, you know, they were like they were the guide through someone else's life, through their child's life. And now to have a mistake at that level, you're super embarrassed and you have to immediately go full-blown defensive. Yeah. And a great way to shut somebody down, just get real loud, get real angry. And it's like, but it's really, it just makes it look worse.
If anyone else has any idea what is happening, please share. Uncle has yet to call me back, and my siblings can't get through to my dad's phone. I think it's dead. I left a voicemail and text on my uncle's line, but who knows if he's seen them. I don't have any authority in his life. The only one that does is my brother, and he lives in another state, so it's not like he can help much. What the F happened to my dad? And there is an update. But yeah, I think honestly right now, I mean, it's just like you have to wait for answers, try and find him, try and talk to your uncle as much as possible.
I would say
your brother, get your siblings involved. I mean, you've already done all of these steps, but yeah, it's just getting everyone involved and making sure everyone is aware of what just happened.
Yeah. Everyone should be aware. I don't know if everyone should be present at a kind of like a confrontation.
Not necessarily that. Yeah.
I think if you want to do that, like the way to move forward from here, if it is like a dementia thing, is like whatever family member like he has the most, you know, the closest bond with it, the most trust with, needs to approach it with like a lot of empathy. You need to approach it with just for like a caring aspect, but you have to be firmer than just like, I just care about you, because then it can just be blown off. It needs to be like, that was really serious and I care about you. Like,
But there is an update. Hi, everyone. I wanted to wait until I had more information to post an update, but a lot of people were seriously worried about my dad and I, so I wanted to let everyone know what happened. I finally found my dad. My uncle took him to the hospital the night of the incident and was, for reasons I'll get to, ignoring our calls and texts. Anyone who bet on head injury or substances, you're correct.
Oh, well,
I didn't even think about those.
Didn't even think about that, and thank God. I'm so glad I was wrong. I feel like that's way better than dementia.
You can cash out your chips at the front counter. There was no second family. I wish there was. My dad would just be in drama-related trouble and not medical trouble. He's got a massive concussion and serious brain damage.
Oh, God.
That's scary. Doctors don't know how he managed to even drive to my apartment safely. They think he was on autopilot since he takes that freeway nearly every day. The phantom kids are his coworkers. His brain somehow blended the details of his coworker's life into his own. Coworker has a daughter who is married and has 2 kids, and the memories of being told about the girls mashed together with the memories of his own daughter. Doctor says this is pretty common with head injuries. My uncle did find my dad and take him to the hospital. He did drive out to my area and scour the place looking for my dad, and eventually found his car outside Walmart around 10 p.m. Couldn't find him outside, but did find him out behind the building harassing an employee for a cig. He grabbed my dad and kind of dragged him into the car and took him to the hospital. He just decided not to update anyone because he didn't want to stress us out.
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads and could not trade my lunch for a lunch bowl or really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that's 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
Everyone was already stressed out.
Honestly, though, like, regardless of the poor communication skills, that's a W brother right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that he did that, but like, that was like, why wouldn't you tell everyone? Why
You know,
wouldn't you
he's
tell
dealing with a
all the
lot,
people?
too. You think about it, you got, like, what if, like, well, I don't know. You'd probably tell people.
I'd probably tell people. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes guys keep stuff closer to the vest.
Weird.
You know?
I don't believe him at all. I think my uncle is responsible for what happened to my dad
Oh,
and was
God.
avoiding us out of guilt.
Oh, God. Wait, maybe not W brother. What's going on?
After I posted here, I went to work, and once I was clocked out, I went to my dad/uncle's place. Dad and uncle's cars were gone. Only my aunt's was there. I went and knocked, but nobody answered. People on my last post mentioned carbon monoxide poisoning, and I was kind of freaking out, thinking my aunt was just effing passed away inside. So I went around the house, testing the doors and windows to see if I could get in. The back door was unlocked, so I just let myself inside and looked around. Totally empty. I even checked underneath the bed since a couple people mentioned my dad could be paranoid or scared and hiding. My aunt has this giant purse and it wasn't there, which confirmed to me that she was probably with my uncle. I went back and sat in my car and started calling any hospitals and jails that came up on Google Maps. Nobody had any answers and just said he wasn't there. So Opie still doesn't know where her dad is.
It is a whack move not to tell the immediate family that.
I even called the cops for a wellness check just to see if maybe they could call around hospitals and get a different answer. But I waited until 11 p.m.-ish and literally nobody came. No police, no family, nobody. I drive back home and try to get some sleep. Next day, I call out of work and spend the day driving around my area trying to find my dad. Couldn't track him down, so I start calling hospitals again. There's 3 in my area, and while 2 of them gave me, "No, he's not here, sorry," one of them got really nervous over the phone and said, "I'm not supposed to give out patient information. This is his daughter." I'm pretty sure you're allowed to say, like, "Hey, your dad is here."
I don't know if you can confirm that over the phone, though.
I don't know.
You know, I think you have to be able to confirm that in person with like IDs and stuff and yada yada yada.
That's true. I got suspicious. Kept asking, and she got more and more flustered. Hung up and drove my butt over there and saw my uncle's car in the parking lot. It was kind of late. The sun was down, but I wasn't keeping track of time. So there were only like 5 cars in the visitor area, and his was one of them. I do not have words to describe what I was feeling, but it was mostly just rage. Like, what the F? Hello? He's been here the whole time? I went in and tried to get the receptionist to let me see my dad. She didn't want to let me, and I'm not proud of it, but I started freaking out. I slammed my hands on the desk, screamed, knocked over a magazine rack. I guess my tantrum made someone go talk to my uncle and aunt, since she came out to the waiting room and told the receptionist it was fine to let me through. If she didn't look so tired and sad, I was going to maul her. But the look on her face made me calm down, if you can call it that. Long story short, she took me to my dad's room. He looked terrible. None of you know my dad, but he's a beast. He's 5'11" with massive smile lines and bright shining eyes. He's my dad, so I'm biased, but he's always so full of life. Laying in that hospital bed, he looked passed away already. Sunken eyes, lifeless and droopy face. He looked empty. I was able to talk to him for a bit, but he was totally out of it. He had to be reminded who I was several times and kept forgetting where he was and why he was here. Just like my dad, when I get upset, I get angry. I practically dragged my uncle out of the room and into the hall for an explanation. After like 20 minutes of him making excuses and beating around the bush, another reason I think he's guilty, he told me what happened. Apparently Monday morning, my dad fell getting out of his car and cracked his head really hard against the driveway. He got up and everyone thought he was fine, so they just went inside the house as normal. After a while, he had a headache, so they gave him a couple prescription painkillers to ease the pain. Apparently that worked, so they just let him continue his day as normal. They only got concerned when I called and told my uncle what happened. He kept being so weird and evasive that I know there's more, but I couldn't wring his stupid effing neck in the hospital, so I just let it go. Here's what I think happened. So we're about to get OP's version.
We're getting the conspiracy theory from OP.
Here's what I think happened. I know my uncle and dad, and I know the history of this stupid family like the back of my hands. I think my dad and uncle got into a fight over something, and my dad was either pushed down or hit in the head by my uncle. The altercation gets resolved somehow and they go back to normal, but my dad's head still hurts. I learned at the hospital from the doctor that there were enough painkillers in his body to numb a horse.
Oh my God.
So I suspect my aunt and uncle just kept feeding him painkillers so they wouldn't need to take my dad to the hospital and admit what they did. I pressed my aunt about the painkillers, and she eventually halfway admitted that they weren't exactly allowed to have them at all. I suspect she bought them off of someone else. They're likely addicted, and I just didn't know. I'm almost 100% sure this is their fault. I think so too.
I would like to rescind my W brother status.
No, he sucks. This brother, the worst. If they had taken my dad to the hospital as soon as he hit his head, he would probably be okay. Absolutely. Head injuries are very serious. I'm staying at the hospital now, and my aunt and uncle have left. Doctor said not to get my hopes up about my dad. But when doctors say that, it always means he'll be okay, right?
Yeah.
That's how it always goes.
Honestly, I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, that's the approach you have to take.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, it's going to be okay. Oh. It's like you have to just like be like, this is going to be fine. This is not even that big of a deal. He's going to come out of it. He's going to be fine. That's what you're going to have to hold on to for right now.
Yeah. They tell you that your family member probably won't make it, but they always prove them wrong. I'm sorry, but the rest of this is just going to be me venting.
But actually though, because like a lot of time when doctors say that, they actually don't know. It's like people can like come out of that and they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, head injuries are so like up in the air.
Yeah.
It really like you cannot tell, I feel like, because they're just, it's so tricky.
Especially like day one, they're going to say that. Yeah, right. Come on.
Yeah. You know what really gets me? I could handle all of this. I could understand it. My uncle and aunt have always been less than reliable. I can believe that this could come from them. The hardest part is the lack of concern from literally anyone but me.
What?
I had to blackmail my brother, drama from a year ago, to even get him to agree to fly out. My mom doesn't care. Dad's family doesn't care. My sister kind of cares, but she doesn't really want to help or even come support me in the hospital with them.
Conspiracy theory. Remember when OP said after she threw a tantrum in the waiting room that, like her dad, she gets angry?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a reason why people don't really want to be with the dad.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's
not coming from nowhere, right? These people can't all just be trash, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
I am just so shocked that I'm the only mother effer here for my dad, and he doesn't even know who I am right now. Ugh. I have to take time off work, but it's not like my job gives me PTO. I'm effed. My dad is effed. My life is effed. Why am I the only one dealing with this? By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this.
Maybe not just like this.
Maybe stories a little bit happier than this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
That's right.
But there is a little bit left of this. I think you can just like, just gotta like, hope your dad pulls through and be there for him. You can't make your siblings be there for him.
You can't.
It seems like maybe everyone has a complicated relationship with your dad.
Could be.
Possibly. Or they're just all suck. We don't know.
I would continue to press the aunt and uncle.
Yes, absolutely.
Under maybe.
Yeah. See if you can get like charges on them or something. It's tricky though because he would have to press the charges. But there's a little bit left. My brother is the only one of us with time and money to help fix this, and I had to threaten him just to get him to come home. I wish I had chased my dad when he left my apartment, but you were scared. You didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I was afraid of him, but I'm even more afraid now. My dad is probably going to pass away, and I trusted the jackass who hurt him with helping him. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with everyone? Why doesn't anyone give a crap about my dad? Why doesn't anyone give a crap about me? Ugh, I could have been a better daughter to him. I could have visited more, called more, involved him in things more.
Nah.
I could have chased him when he left my apartment.
Could've.
You can't.
You
This
can't
all
could have. You can't
whatevs,
could have.
yeah.
You can't could have.
I might have gotten hurt, but I would rather be beaten to a pulp rather than be sitting in the hospital room with my unconscious and probably passing away father. I'm so effing stupid. I'm sorry, Dad. Again, OP, like, this is not, you didn't know what was going on. You couldn't have known that this was going to happen. And it's just like
grief
you have
talking.
you already have like kind of a tricky relationship with your dad. You just have to hope, you just have to hope that he pulls through and you can make different decisions going forward, but you didn't do anything wrong. Comments. One says, you should definitely get the police involved. Even if the story is true that he fell, they still pumped him with pain meds when he couldn't advocate for himself. It's like being roofied at a bar. I hope your dad pulls through. I would contact with your aunt and uncle. As a daughter, you have more rights to your dad's care than they do. Ban them from the hospital. OP says, on this, a couple cops just came to me to talk to me and get a statement. They seemed to be taking me seriously and took my contact info. I told them everything about what happened when dad came to my apartment and what my uncle said and how I didn't believe him and gave my version of things. Tried to give as much context as I could. I think they believe me, but who knows? They said they'd come around again soon. I'm not really sure what happens from here, but I'll be pressing for more information when they come back. And that is the end of that story. A father tricked me to babysit for free, then tried to make an excuse when I confronted him.
What's money? Give me money.
Give it to me. I worked at a children's entertainment center since the week I turned 15. We do everything: camp, parties, free play on the equipment, babysitting, etc. And I was involved in all aspects. I was 16 when the story happened, but I've always looked young for my age. Cast: entitled parent, EP. K1, kid 1, age 4. K2, kid 2, age 6. OP. And then supervisor, which is S. By the way, this comes from Anonymous7 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I met one of the worst gills I've ever met to date in the middle of the week near the middle of the summer. It was just before 6 p.m. on a weekday and the weather outside was gorgeous. So it wasn't exactly peak hours for indoor playgrounds like the one I worked at and our last customers left. Because of this, my supervisor decided it was a good time to take his break. Supervisor is Mr. Moon. Gave me his phone number and headed out. Almost instantly, this man comes in with his 2 daughters. And Gil seems like any normal dad at first, struggling to convince Biff that she had to take her shoes off before running into the playground. And Biff is a girl, making a bunch of funny jokes that I politely pretended to laugh at, etc. So I got into the check-in routine. It's policy to ask all parents if it's their kid's first time at a playground, so we know whether we need them to fill waivers or go over the playground rules. Gil seemed surprised I'm asking and said, yeah, they actually do camp here. I think you were one of their counselors, right, girls? The kids don't really respond, and I'm pretty sure I've never met them before. We're a family-run chain, so our camps don't tend to get past 15 kids, so it's not hard for me to remember campers. We have another young girl who looks kind of likely who did camp the one week I wasn't there. So I assume maybe he's getting us mixed up and like me. And assume he's getting mixed up and decided to play along and said, oh yeah, I think I might have, instead of wasting time explaining.
Nice.
I checked later and his kids are nowhere in our camp system. He's like, no, we've always been here. I'm Gil. Remember?
Either he's a really, really, really bad dad or he's up to malice intent.
He pays and I get his kids set up to go in while we keep small talking. When he goes, oh crap, I need to get food. I haven't had dinner yet. And starts trying to get his kids to come back out. He bought a day pass and would have been able to come back later. But getting small children to leave the giant playground they literally just started playing on is near impossible. Why did they have to eat dinner? Gil looks defeated and says, I know you don't normally do this, but since it's empty and you guys know us, would you be able to watch the girls for a little while I run and grab something to eat? I just don't want to ruin their day and get them back into the car. Since we do offer babysitting that you have to set up in advance, we're not supposed to agree to watch people's kids if they're not there. But we all normally agree to watch them for a few minutes while parents run to the car or find parking. And since I know there's a plaza with several fast food restaurants so close that I can walk there, order, sit down and eat, and walk back during my 30-minute break, and that I'm feeling guilty for maybe not recognizing his kids, I agree, but explain that it's not normal protocol, so he can't expect it to happen next time. I know I should have called my supervisor, but I got the job in the first place to try and deal with the severe anxiety disorder, and phones were still something I avoided at all costs. Oh, right, because Mr. Moon left. Gave her the phone number and left. So it's all OP's alone.
I understand your thought process, OP. But you're a 15-year-old girl and you don't need to watch a grown man's kids.
Gil is super grateful and apologetic, so I get his phone number, he tells the girls he'll be right back, and he leaves. I realize the second he's out the door that he left his phone on the desk, so if I need to contact him, I won't be able to do so. So I sprint outside, flag down his car, and get it back to him. He's super grateful again and mentions that he's going to get coffee and asks if I want one. There's a Dunkin's right across the street from the food plaza, so I assume he's just making 2 stops and think nothing of it. 20 minutes go by. Gil's kids are still the only ones there, and Gil's not back yet. Mr. Moon comes back from his break, asks me about the kids playing by themselves, and I explain the situation, that he left 20 minutes ago and should be back soon. He shrugs it off and starts doing paperwork. 30 minutes go by, and he's not back yet, and we start to get worried, but rationalized it as him maybe eating before coming back instead of just picking up food. Its kids are asking me where their dad is, and I keep telling them he'll be back soon, but at that point, I'm not sure if I'm lying. Around the 40-minute mark, Biff comes up and says that Scoot has a stomach ache, which would make sense if they haven't had dinner yet. I ask her if she's feeling nauseous or hungry and if she needs to eat, and she says she's not sure. So I call the dad and explain the situation, asking if he'll be back soon, and saying that I didn't think he'd be taking that long. He apologizes and says he's almost done and that he'd try to be back soon. Dude is like up to nefarious deeds.
Yes.
10 more minutes go by and Gil's still not back. Biff is now complaining that they're hungry and Scoot says she's thinking eating would help her stomach. So I call him again and ask if it's okay if I give the kids snack from the snacks bar. He says to let them have as much as they want and that I'll pay the tab when he gets back. He left his kids. I ask when he thinks that he will be back and he says he's almost ready to check out. I'm confused and realize that my kids haven't had dinner yet and I need to quickly go get food. Meant that this man intended to do his weekly grocery shopping. The nearest grocery store is at least a 15-minute drive away, and by the sounds of it, he went even further to the organic market. At this point, I'm well aware that I've been taken advantage of, and I'm pissed. But I'm just a kid, and this is a grown adult, so I meekly explain that that's not what I thought he'd meant, and ask him to please get back as quickly as he can. I'm so angry, so I deal with it the only way I can. I follow Gil's instructions and tell Biff and Scoot that their dad said they could take as much from the snack bar as they want, making sure to point out the more expensive items and racking up his tab. Yes, OP. Rack that tab up. Mr. Moon is aware of what's going on, but because he's awesome, he fully blames Gil and says he'll mention babysitting fees for me when he gets back, but won't charge him since he didn't sign up for it. But we don't want to cause a problem. 15 more minutes go by, and at this point, he's been gone for over an hour. Scoot comes over to me, starting to get upset because she's old enough to know something's wrong and that her dad's been gone too long. I could sympathize because my own father did a lot of similar things, less maliciously, while I was younger, dropping me off for camp and coming back hours after they closed, picking me up late for school, and expecting the teachers to watch me, consistently picking me up late from extracurriculars and stuff like that because he had awful time management. I knew how it felt to be worried a parent had forgotten you, so I dialed up her father and gave her the phone so she could talk to him, asking if she'd hand him off to me after. Scoot is crying in the phone, asking her dad when he's going to come play with her, and he calms her down a little. She hands the phone to me, and he says he's just finished checking out. Jeez. So he has to run home first so the food doesn't all go bad, but he lives super close. At this point, I've just been told to try and avoid a confrontation, so tell him to hurry up and go play with his kids. Gil finally comes back just before 7:30. We close at 8. I'd been with the girls when he showed up, so say, look who's here, and both girls are ecstatic to see him. They run out to the lobby, rapid fire telling him about all the toys they'd found and trying to pull him in to see. He kind of smiles and tells the girls to put their shoes back on and get ready to leave, and both them and I are confused. I have no idea why he'd need to stop home to put his food in the fridge if he was planning on popping in and out instead of coming to see his clearly upset daughters, and the girls expected him to play. Scoot starts bugging him about it, begging him to come play, and he yells at her, saying she'd call him all upset, saying she wanted to leave, so that's what they're doing, and turns to me to confirm, saying I must have heard her, and I just quietly say, I'm pretty sure she just missed you and wanted you to come play. Because I didn't want to lie, and he just kind of huffs and asks what his total on the snacks are. I get him set up to pay, and Mr. Moon steps in with a babysitting brochure, saying he understands that there was a misunderstanding, but just so Gil knows for the future, this is what that would normally cost, and we love to see his girls in our babysitting program. He flips out at this point, saying he told me he was going shopping, and Mr. Moon calmly tells him that he said he was getting food, not shopping, and I'd assumed it meant the fast food places next door. Keep in mind, we're not asking this guy to pay us any more money. Gil goes on and on about how good of a guy he is. I offered to buy her coffee, didn't I? Tell him. And how he's pretty sure at some point on the phone he said he'd be an hour. I admit I might have missed that, but point out that it's been over an hour since he left just before 6 and got back at 7:30. He says, I must be getting my times wrong because the girls had their swim lesson 2 doors down until 5:30, so there's no way he was here before 6, even though both Mr. Moon and I know he had to be, because if he actually came at 6:30, Mr. Moon would have been back from his break. To try and calm him down, I pull up the precept from the last payment, $557, and he starts going on about how it must be wrong.
Machines are never wrong.
Machines never lie. We just want him gone before close at this point and need him to pay for his kids $14 worth of snacks, so kind of drop it and ask him to pay. He almost does, but then starts yelling about how he feels like we're calling him a bad parent, and he's not, and he wouldn't have done babysitting anyways because Scoot is 6. She doesn't need a babysitter, and she can watch Biff. Oxymoronic, I know. And then starts trying to turn me and Mr. Moon against each other, saying, Mr. Moon's blaming you. How does that make you feel?
Okay, I'm talking to Mr. Moon and being like, this man is banned from ever stepping foot.
Bye.
And I'm going to look at his kids and be like, you're banned. You can never come back here.
This is a family business. Just tell him that he can't come back. To which Mr. Moon would say, no, I'm not. She didn't do anything wrong. Causing him to resort to trying to make it a race thing with Mr. Moon, who's Muslim, using the go-to, I don't know how things work where you're from, but at this point, I stop paying attention to him and find sticker books to go through with his now crying daughters, who are scared because of his screaming father. But eventually he pays and storms out, loudly proclaiming to his daughters, we won't be coming back here, girls. You better say goodbye. Which they did, and I smiled and waved back, which I think made him more mad. I truly don't get why awful customers think we'd be upset if they decide to take their awfulness somewhere else. And by the way, you can take your goodness right over here and listen to full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app like iHeartRadio and search up Big Guy Story Time. But there is a little bit left to this story.
I think this guy was dealing something. No way. No way it takes you an hour and a half to go grocery shopping.
Hour and a half. Yeah.
He was buying time.
Well, okay.
He was using OP to buy
15
time.
minutes there.
He was cheating. How long does it take you? How long does it take you to cheat?
It depends on what type of cheating you're doing. If you're just doing a little smooch, a second.
Dude was not shopping. I don't care what you guys say. Bro was definitely not shopping.
So yeah, it's been a year and I'm still hesitant to even let parents run out to their cars without their kids now. So Gil kind of messed that up for me. But I'm honestly not that upset about the experience anymore. I was originally worried for a few weeks after. But overall, I feel like it taught me to be more assertive with customers and become a lot less of a doormat. I'm also super comfortable with answering the phone at work now because of how much I had to keep calling him that night. So thanks, Gil. Now I'm better at my job. making sure people like you can't get away with crap like that anymore, and life in general.
Boom. Boom.
And that's
boom.
the end of that story.
All right.
Woo! Gil's The Adventures of Scoot and Biff. My entitled brother took our father's truck after he passed away, but called me the greedy one.
You're a greedy one.
Hi all, I'm very new to this, so forgive me if this is jumbled. I just lost my father a few weeks ago. I'm so sorry, OP. So my mind isn't at its best. What is it about people passing away that brings out the worst in people? I'm 30 female and my dad was the best. A very strong, loving, hardworking, loyal, and just fantastic human being. And I miss him every day. His passing away was unexpected. By the way, this comes from Callerhead8265 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So I'm a part of a big immediate family and have a lot of siblings. I'm one of the youngest. My parents live with me, but we're all visiting family when this all went down. So my dad's truck, the spark that set off why I'm posting here. As anyone who comes from a big family can attest to, not everyone in the family were happy when I arrived in the family. I really stuck out. And that difference was always pointed out to me in both subtle and not so subtle ways. As a baby, you can imagine how much that hurt. As an adult, I have built an armor against that constant want to be accepted. The ones that have, and the ones that haven't, I'm cordial and weary around. I don't let my guard down because the times that I did as a child, a gut punch was always close to follow. Sad. I guess, given my grief and hope that at least they would be civil, I wouldn't have to keep my walls as high. I let my guard slip, and in came the gut punch. My dad has an old truck that he still used. It was in okay condition, but definitely needed repairs. But it was a staple of him, and he loved it. He taught me how to drive in that truck, let me use it when we only had the one car for work. He took me and the family I grew up with to every major event in that truck. It held a lot of value to me. A day after he passed, after my husband and I drove a lot of hours to get to my mother, the brother that this post is about, let's call him Mike, was discussing things with my mom that I didn't feel like they needed to be discussing, not even 24 hours after he passed. But I stayed out of the conversation because I didn't know if my mother had initiated it or not. After the conversation had finished, I pulled Mike aside and told him I'd like to keep the truck. It had a lot of sentimental value to me, and I didn't want to get rid of it. It could even be something I passed on to my daughter or son if I ever had one. I didn't tell him that part, though. Mike proceeds to say that Ma is gonna sell it and that she needs the money. And what do I need it for? He says some veiled accusations like I was out to get something from my parents. The truck situation comes up one more time during that week, the day after Dad's funeral, and it's another fight. I conceded both times that if Mom really needed the money, then selling it was fine. My husband and I leave, and Ma stays with the family for a few more weeks. A few days before Ma's return, I got a text message in a group chat about my brother taking the truck. He already spoke to Ma about it, and she agreed, and that he's coming to my house in a few days to pick it up. Take it and sell it and give her the money? It sounds like he's just taking it.
It sounds like he wants the truck.
Ridiculous. In the same group chat, I voiced that I had wanted Dad's truck and that he said Ma needed the money and I couldn't keep it. But all of a sudden, he wanted it. He reiterated his first text, and as everyone else in the group chat debated, I stayed silent and raged. Why was he, who barely stepped foot in that truck, more entitled to it than me? Why was I the greedy daughter who was out to get something from my parents when I wanted it, but everyone was fine when he did? Why was I always the one that needed to calm down when I voiced how I was feeling? But he could say whatever he wanted, and it was always explained away. So here I am again, trying to get through a day without breaking down because my daddy's gone. Oh. And while I'm stressing about how my mother is going to cope in a house without her partner of over half a century, this crap is happening. I ping pong between anger, betrayal, feeling stupid about being mad about a truck, knowing it won't bring my dad back, and thinking that keeping the truck might hurt my mom more than letting it go would. Some of my siblings call, saying the same things. So it solidifies my choice that fighting for it will only bring more stress to everyone, and I could have fought for it. So I let it go. Text the group chat that night that he should go on KBB and see how much it's worth, just in case the $1,000 he offered my mom was less than it was actually worth, since he said she needed the money so much. And I guess I kicked a hornet's nest again. I think that was a really fair thing to be like, hey, just like check if it's, if she can get more out of it, because it wouldn't be fair to just give her $1,000 if it's worth like $5,000.
I was gonna say, I think right now everyone is in like a very vulnerable, very emotional
your dad
state.
just
like sadness, anger, other people are feeling these things, but again, this truck situation
Yeah.
just seems like it's heightened everyone
Yeah, and
to
if
a
they already
scale to
kind
11.
if they already kind of behave like this towards you, it's just even more.
Yeah.
People are texting, calling that I'm wrong. Mommy gave him the truck and didn't want anything for it. And I'm wrong again for asking him to pay for it, even though he offered to pay for it. After informing the crew that I was trying to tell them that I had let the situation go and I wasn't trying to start up anything, I just thought he was offering to buy it, so he should pay Mom what it's worth if it's worth more than what he's offering. Things calmed down. Cut to a day before Mike was supposed to come and pick up the truck. That was the day Mom had slated to clean out Dad's truck. I heard a male voice speaking to Mom in the living room, and I came out of my office to see who it was because I knew it wasn't my husband. And lo and behold, it was a different brother who I didn't expect to be there. I proceed to look outside, and there is Dad's truck, already loaded up on a loader thingy, and Mike is outside and hasn't come in yet. My eyebrow raised a bit, but I greet the one brother that is in the house and then go outside and ask, I don't know why I asked, if I could grab some stuff out of the truck. There were specific things that I wanted out of there and I got them. After that, I went inside to grab a bag and cleared out the rest of the stuff. That was, of course, going to be a problem. After he asked me if I had cleared out the truck, which I said no to because I hadn't gotten to the back seats yet, Mike stormed outside and then proceeded to bust into my house and think it was okay to start yelling at me in front of our mother. Everyone, if there's one thing you need to know about me and who I am, is that I am and will always be fiercely protective of my parents' well-being. So the fact that this person, who has never considered me a sibling until our dad passed away, was trying to fight with me in front of our mourning mother made me snap, but not as much as I could have. After he called me selfish for the 4th time, I brought up an issue Dum Dum had caused for my parents a year ago, and it silenced him a little. Kind of hard to bite back after being muzzled by one's wrongdoings. A few more choice words were spoken, and then he left with my brother and my dad's truck. But you can never leave, because we want you to join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
We're probably live right now. Go check.
Not right now. Right after the story.
Yeah, but there is a little bit more. But do you have any final thoughts?
I don't understand why he's being, again, I get it. The passing of your father is everyone's heightened to 11, but I think he's just taking all that anger out on you. What's happening?
I think it's cementing, or at least it's a continuation of the kind of dynamic they had growing up, which OP has said. And he thinks that he can just kind of walk all over OP and OP won't do anything.
It's not right.
And now OP's kind of questioning things and asking for like seemingly the one thing. And he's like, no, you can't have the truck. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to clean out the truck. And he's like, I can't believe you're doing this. And she's like, you know what? Stop talking to me like that.
Is there not a will? I know OP's father passed away out of the blue. What I don't get is, did OP not communicate the sentiment toward the truck?
I think she did.
Maybe the brother just wasn't wanting to listen.
I think no, it seems like your siblings are pretty rude, which sucks. But there's a little bit left. My husband got home a few minutes later and was trying to go outside before they left, but I stopped him. Told him and the siblings what happened so the situation couldn't get spun on me, and blocked the idiot who wanted a bunch of junk and sentimental stuff that only symbolized dad to him, but meant dad to me. And that is the end of that story. So OP's like, you know what? I'm done with this guy. This is how my brother's going to be treating me. I won't put up with it.
It's not worth it, especially in this time of, just a loss. So as long as you got some trinkets or something to remember your dad by, great. I know it sucks that you didn't get the truck, but at least you got something, hopefully, and just screw that guy.
But that is the end of that story.
My father-in-law never keeps his word, so I told my fiancé not to invite him to our wedding. I, 27 female, and my fiancé, 29 male, are engaged and just started planning for our wedding. We have been a couple for 7 years, engaged for 2. That way I could finish university, and have known each other since high school. We reconnected in our early university/junior college days and have been inseparable ever since, having helped each other through a lot of significant life changes and accomplishments already. By the way, this comes from you/Topaz Scorpio 96 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we are really looking forward to getting married in front of our families and close friends. Already, we have been encountering the typical family member pressures about how they hope our wedding to be where it should be and if we can keep things in mind for them in accommodations, etc. We have been doing well so far, keeping our interests as a priority, mutually agreeing that we will not be married in our hometown because there's too many painful associations and memories for the both of us, and that it won't be a church wedding as we aren't very religious, so that everyone we love from all walks of spirituality can be there. However, there is one of a few outstanding issues we are experiencing related to the wedding. My future father-in-law has been making remarks about us, saying we would like to get married in our current city, saying that he would be better able to attend if it were back in our hometown where it was more convenient for him as well for our other family members. Where we currently live is 4 to 6 hours away in a very scenic and popular tourist area of our state. We ideally would plan the wedding to be on a weekend so that people had a better chance of attending and enjoying being out there. A vast majority of our potential guests have said that they would come wherever we have the wedding regardless, including family members on my fiance's side. So it sounds like it's just the future father-in-law that's having an issue.
He's making trouble.
I guess the reason why father-in-law's request bothers me so much is because I do not trust him to keep his word in attending in either scenario. As of late, family dynamics between my fiance's immediate family members, mom versus dad versus sister, fiance stuck in the middle, has been pretty tense. Future father-in-law has a history of infidelity. Ooh.
He can't handle commitment.
Not at all.
Don't let him come to the wedding.
He's not going to be there.
He's probably not even going to come.
Probably not. His latest incident being this past summer. Incident?
What do you mean incident?
It's not like an incident.
He's like, father-in-law.
Right.
Sometimes he just slips.
It just acts up sometimes. Like his infidelity acts up. Like,
it flares. He's having a flare up.
Right. He was prioritizing his job and indiscretions over family time and events that occur both in and out of town, and not having the best of relationships with his 2 children, which are my fiance and his sister. A lot of the time, if he wasn't really working, he has missed family get-togethers to instead go drinking with his buddies until late at night, or to see another woman if the future mother-in-law was traveling out of town.
Disgusting.
Oh my goodness. Since we started dating, father-in-law has missed 2 graduations. One was my fiance's for his master's, and 2 weddings, a couple of funerals, and countless family dinners. Oh my goodness.
What is the point of this man?
He's just not showing up anywhere.
He doesn't exist.
What's the point of him?
Stop inviting him to things. He doesn't show up.
Yeah, exactly. This has happened so much so that close family and friends are disappointed when they asked me and made remarks of how unsurprised they are. His kids and my future mother-in-law have been equally just as disappointed, but mother-in-law enables it and makes excuses for him that neither sister-in-law or fiance accept.
That sucks. She's just making excuses for him to cheat.
Yeah,
she's like, father-in-law.
Yeah. When confronted, the father-in-law gets defensive and makes excuses for his actions. It has caused a rift between father-in-law and sister-in-law to not talk to one another much anymore after he chose not to go with us to help and support mother-in-law's family out of the country when her father sadly passed away suddenly after battling terminal cancer.
Why is this woman still with him?
Yeah, that's really sad.
That's so sad. Like, he literally has nothing good to offer. He doesn't show up to any events, doesn't help with her ailing, or passed away parent.
Right. It's like not even just an absent father. It's like absent husband.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
he just cheats on her.
He's just gone. Like, what does he do?
Nothing.
From everything I've seen, observed, and experienced regarding the father-in-law, I honestly don't expect him to come to our wedding at all. Seeing how sad and disappointed my fiance has been towards his dad's most recent lack of attendance was devastating. It really seems like he wouldn't be missing anything if he wasn't invited. I voiced my concerns to my fiance and asked him what he thought to consider not having the father-in-law there. I listed out all the reasons reasons with examples I stated above, further saying how his dad has never come to visit us at our previous home and how he has declined every offer to visit us where we currently live now when future mother-in-law and sister-in-law visit, and how he has been caught using his job as an excuse to stay behind and go see another woman while mother-in-law is away, or to just go drinking. I tried my best to tell my fiance that as much as I want to be respectful to father-in-law as he is my fiance's dad, I cannot deny that the father-in-law's actions and lack of accountability to recent events has upset me enough to think that he should not be included at all.
Don't include him. He's not gonna show up.
Yeah, there's just no point. Like,
Yeah.
you're just gonna like get your hopes super high of like him showing up, and then he's gonna disappoint you yet
He's
again.
not even there.
Not even there. We haven't come to an agreement yet. We still have plenty of time. I believe that both people in a couple should agree on serious decisions like this. If he decides to still invite his dad, I won't go against him and respect it, but I will take care of any drama stemming from this so that he can enjoy our future big day. That's really sweet.
I think that's fair, especially because it is his partner's, her parent.
Right.
So she can't really fully decide whether or not she wants.
Exactly.
You know?
So it's nice that she's just like, you make that decision. I'll take care of whatever problems come up.
I'll take care of it.
I'll take care of it.
Don't you worry.
My fiance and I have been having some very good, serious conversations about this, but he does get quiet sometimes and frustrated with how torn he is about his feelings towards his dad. I feel bad for having brought this to his attention and consideration. So am I the a-hole for asking my fiance to consider not inviting his father / my future father-in-law to our wedding? Any outside perspective on this is welcomed. And there is an update, but what do we think? Is OP the a-hole?
No, you're not the a-hole. You're not doing anything like crazy. You're just not giving an invite to someone who's also not coming to the. It's like not inviting the queen.
Yeah, it's like she's not gonna
be there.
Right. that's a really good way to look at it.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're the a-hole like at all.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're bringing it up, and yeah, it's sad, but it's kind of the reality.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not really your fault that he's being sad. It's a sad situation already.
Yeah.
You're just bringing it to attention,
Exactly.
and you're going about it in a really good way.
I think so.
Yeah, like you're offering all this support and stuff, and like making sure that he can make that decision for himself. So I think
Just
you're doing
like,
great.
Yeah, just let him know, like, hey, if you don't want him there, let's make sure that he doesn't come.
Update. I know my post was shared to get as much input as possible, and to that I thank everyone who commented and messaged me their support, insights, tips, and similar experiences. My fiance and I are currently experiencing some unforeseen finance setbacks, a post I will make later, and considering much of the advice you gave. Thank you to the couple of folks with shared experiences on how to navigate toxic family members when wedding planning. You all have reassured me that I wasn't wrong for communicating such concerns to my fiance, as it is something unavoidable now and in the future when it comes to more bigger milestones. Reading your comments and messages together, you have given us some hopeful alternatives. Elopement has become a renewed discussion, our plan B, as well as potentially finding stand-in family members for my fiance day of the big day if all goes forward with the ceremony and a reception, which was planned. I'm just happy that he seems a little more confident in what he wants to do after reading your suggestions for us. By the way, you can always be confident that we're gonna be live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it. Seems like it's working out. They're figuring out different alternatives.
Yeah. As for those who commented probably the least helpful perspective and even messaging me some very hurtful things, I only have to say that you are lucky to not have experienced toxic family members in your home life or your significant others. That is very fortunate for you. But do not suggest that I am a crap starter for putting my nose in where it doesn't belong. And even going as far as saying that my fiance should break up with me for being a petty B or who has no say in anything. I have stand-in people of my own for my chosen family, so don't accuse me of being insensitive to his family situation when I have had mine of my own. I am committed deeply to him as he is my person, and that includes being there as he navigates his family issues and helping him where I can instead of being a completely silent bystander that you pessimistic guys suggest I be. His family becomes my extended family as we start ours, and it will be ours together to work through. If I have any more updates to share regarding this line of wedding planning and the event itself, I'll keep you all posted. But that is the end of that story.
Whoo-wee.
So fortunately, we didn't get any revenge.
No revenge.
We just got like
whatever
snapbacks to all the Reddit commenters.
You know, I guess the best revenge is living happily.
it truly is.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
But that's the end of that story.
Yep.
So we'll see you next time. Woohoo! My husband's father got a DUI, and my in-laws say it's our fault.
Well, it looks like you're going to be going to jail for your in-laws now.
7 years ago, I began dating my now husband, Sam, when we were 16 years old. When I met his mom, Sue, things appeared to be great. Sue was a successful businesswoman and the life of the party, entertaining us with gossip. Looking back, it was extremely hurtful and over the top, bullying high school girls and starting hurtful rumors about nice neighbors who lived next door. By the way, this comes from obviously Amish, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. 2 years went by and things were still great. His parents would always take us out to dinner and bring me along on trips. They would go to Mexico for weeks at a time, and we now know they were going to get wasted and probably do other substances. The mom has an open painkiller prescription and hasn't had a serious procedure in years. They would give Sam a talk every time before they left. If anything were to happen to us, here's what would happen with the biz, the kids, etc. We were always told not to tell people they were gone, and we never really knew exactly why. These talks disturbed Sam, making him feel like something bad was going on. We were left to take care of their younger kids, as my husband is the oldest, but we didn't mind. We were teens in a nice house with no parental supervision. We drove the kids to sports practices, attended the games and performances, and did everything else a parent would do. My husband has been doing this since 14, yes, even driving. Wow. We, mostly Sam, also did back to school shopping for their kids for years, and we celebrated the youngest kid's birthday on the same day. They always managed to be gone for his birthday for longer than I had been around and for years to come. They never missed Sam's birthday until Sam and I got married and spent his birthday out of town. Don't worry, Sue made sure to let me know they were devastated over it. Things were great. We would watch their kids and they would take us all on trips and out to dinners, providing financial opportunities. That is, until I broke up with Sam. We talked about marriage, but I wasn't sure I wanted to be with him because it was a messy teen relationship. It was a clean break. We ultimately agreed it would be best to date other people and maybe revisit dating each other in the future. So we broke up and started going on other dates. Again, we lived practically next door. Everything was fine until I started dating the guy with the nice car. Suddenly, Sue was sending her husband to walk the dog, even though that was something he never did. He would just stare at me and this guy when he'd come to pick me up. Fast forward, Sam and I got back together. Everything turned out well, and we've been happily married, but not without some work. I assumed everything would be okay. I thought Sue wanted the best for us. Immediately, there was trouble. Sue alerted Sam not to get back together with me. She had heard from someone that I had been engaged to the guy with the nice car. That wasn't true. When it was suggested that she was lying, she left the house and wouldn't come back until people were on her side. After that, I noticed Sam would only bring me around when his parents were asleep. I also noticed his siblings starting to turn on me, blaming their friend problems on Sam and me getting back together. They're like, Mercury is in retrograde and Sam and OP are back together, so my friend group is not working out.
Yeah, your relationship shifts the entire global relationship axis.
How did they even work that out?
Yeah. Everyone's dynamic is in shambles because OP's back with Sam.
I'm assuming it was Sue working on them to make me feel unwelcome. Months later, when our paths finally crossed, she looked at me like I was gum on her shoe. She didn't speak to me for 6 months. I was in agony over this because I didn't know what I had done to deserve all this. Surely I had done something. One day, she randomly came around acting as if nothing had happened, like we were the best of friends. Her shunning me still hasn't been mentioned to this day. She began giving me gifts and taking me on trips again. All was well, until Sam and I got into an argument. He confided in his mom and instantly knew it was the last time he ever would. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Yeah, don't run to your mom to be like, wait, this is my relationship fight. We had a fight.
Yeah. Oh, she texted my mom, Sam and I were 19 at this point, and told her to make sure we stayed apart for exactly 2 weeks. Not sure why 2 weeks. My mom, a people pleaser like me, kindly declined, to which Sue responded, make it happen. Now, I was mad. She was ordering my mom around like one of her assistants and trying to split us up. If being confused about the unexplained silence for 6 months and lying about me wasn't enough, this was. I didn't want to spend much time around Sue, and Sam respected that. When we did spend time around her, we were met by what I now know were passive-aggressive comments like, "You don't want to be on Sue's bad side. He. Is this what Sue's saying? The gifts I would receive were also passive-aggressive. After finding a pregnancy test in Sam's truck, which had been wrapped up and tucked away, Sue bought me maternity outfits. I then began noticing weird occurrences. Sue had 2 or 3 female assistants, all way hot and single. Sometimes I would drive around with Sam and work from my laptop while he worked. He worked for the family business. Sue would call demanding one of the assistants needed help with something. Sue never knew I was with Sam and heard everything she would say. We'd show up to her house where just the assistant would be waiting. It was always something stupid. One time, one of the assistants said, "I don't know why your mom told you I needed help moving the 6-pound Christmas tree. LOL. There was a lot of weirdness around Sue and her assistants. It's nothing I can prove, but I feel like she was trying to get her beloved assistants and Sam together. She always talked about these girls so highly around me. Through all of this, we continued to be parents, which gave me some good points with Sue because they invited us on one of the Mexico trips with a friend Sue had reconnected with. Long story short, while in Mexico, her friend and I talked. Sue had just stopped talking to this friend cold turkey for 5 years and then suddenly wanted to reconnect. She had no idea why. I then realized this was the woman Sue claimed was a crazy bipolar stalker. Only I wasn't getting those vibes at all. I still wonder if I should say something to the friend. Shortly after, this friend became the key to plentiful financial opportunities for Sue's daughter. Weird timing. So Sue only gets back together or like lets people back into her life when she needs them.
Sue's just a little schemer.
Sue the schemer.
Scheming Sue.
Time passed, and Sue and I tolerated each other. Many interactions were filled with passive aggressiveness, self and other demeaning comments, and her playing the victim in every story. I'll admit I hated Sue, but never stood up to her because of my fear of conflict. I've noticed the rest of the family is similar in this way, especially Sue's husband. They have endured a lot of screaming and verbal abuse, usually passed off as, "Oh, I'm just a sarcastic person," if excused at all. The way I retaliated and coped with my confusion was just by not coming around often. Fast forward, we got engaged up at their family cabin. When we came back to tell Sue, she kind of acknowledged it, saying, "Well, you guys will probably have cute kids," and then went back to changing the sheets on the bed. When we invited them to celebrate, they declined, saying they were too tired. Several minutes later, there were pictures posted of me on her story telling her followers how excited she was to get another daughter. So wait, so they're telling you guys one thing or like acting one way towards you guys and then being all excited online?
Yeah, the public face is like, "We're so happy." And
Yeah,
the
but
private
they're
face is like,
I don't care. I don't care about your babies.
The next few months of wedding prep were HE double hockey sticks. I think she was on better behavior, but I wasn't by much. I don't even want to get into it all. One thing she was particularly pissed about was that we were getting our own place and not moving into their basement as we originally planned. No live-in babysitters. Again, very passive-aggressive. I would never spend that much money on such a small apartment. You guys will probably just move in with us at some point. Don't move in with them. Whatever you do, don't move in with them. The wedding finally was over and we went on our honeymoon, which was paid and planned for by Sam's parents. I'll admit it was very nice. We got back just in time to watch the remaining kid so they could go to their family cabin several hours away and stay for a few weeks.
2 weeks?
They just left what do you mean the remaining kid? They're like, I don't know, the leftover one can stay with you.
Yeah, you
What?
take the leftover, make sure they eat.
I don't know. He's like 4 years old. He's probably fine.
I don't think he really needs water. I just think he needs a little food.
He
maybe
just,
now
yeah,
and then.
sometimes we'll give him a pat on the back and he's set.
Very seldom.
Yeah.
Very
yeah. He's
seldom
kind of
do
like
we
a
give him a
cat,
pat on
really.
the back.
They didn't frequent Mexico as often because once the cabin was finished, I think that's where they would unwind substances and alcohol, usually leaving Sam with a lot of pieces to pick up with the business. He was most definitely not being paid enough to run it. We eventually told them we would no longer be parents. If you're not going to watch him, at least pick him up and drop him off at school. He declined. She had her assistants do it instead. More passive aggressiveness. I felt horrible only because now the younger sibling was all alone, left for weeks at a time with an assistant to check on him occasionally. Okay, fast forward again. About 6 months ago, I felt like I was going to explode over this. Honestly, over the years when all of these things were going on, I didn't really know what to think. I felt confused. Yes, Sue was doing all of these things, but I was taught to turn the other cheek and give people a break who had hard childhoods, etc., automatically making me the one in the wrong for not forgiving and not spending much time around her. My family only knew the extremely generous and funny personality of Sue, so when I confided in them, it always made me more confused. Was I seeing things? Was I overreacting? Was it all me? I finally lost it and said I wanted to go no contact because of how confused I was. Sam respected that. Within 2 weeks of no contact, something happened that I wasn't expecting. My love for art came back. 2 more weeks, my migraines reduced by 90%. Sue went kind of quiet, and at business meetings, according to Sam, was more pleasant. I was starting to feel like maybe things would end up okay, and we could reconnect at some point with a strong set of boundaries. It all changed in an instant. A few months went by and it all came crashing down. Sam's dad got a DUI driving back from the family cabin. Around 1 a.m., Sam's phone started buzzing. It was Sue. She was hysterical. Her husband had been arrested after she sent him home from the cabin. She claimed she didn't know he was wasted.
I'm going to go ahead and say I doubt that.
She probably just didn't think he was maybe at a level, but like they go there for the express purpose of drinking and doing substances.
Yeah, they're just like, sorry, I forgot what sobriety actually was.
I don't know what the baseline is.
Yeah, I thought we were all good. I was wrong.
Yeah. Sam tried to calm her down, and she proceeded to say, "Do you want to know why he did this? Do you really want to know? It's because he's really, really sad." Further context revealed she was talking about him being sad about our no contact. It felt like she was blaming us. And guess what? I felt extremely guilty. No. I was close to ending the no contact. Thankfully, Sam is the voice of reason in my life and urged me not to. I eventually realized that these things had happened before. A few years back, Sam's dad got sad, then wasted, and started driving their car at over 100 through neighborhoods. They didn't get caught. Wow. But Sam had to physically restrain him. Oh my God. What was so eerie about the whole DUI situation was when Sue's sister, another voice of reason, got in touch with Sam. She was way more concerned about getting Sue help than the very person who just got a DUI. We still don't know why. Whatever it is, Sue's sister knows more than we do. She probably thought she got a foot in the door because after that, she went back to her old self. I think it's because Sam didn't defend us when she was basically blaming the DUI on us. He also made a point to be nicer to her after that. Neither of us saw a problem until we realized she was given an inch and took a mile. Sam immediately corrected himself in his behavior towards her, and now she's gone radio silent. In conclusion, reading over this, I'm more confident than ever Sue is a covert, self-absorbed person. I think this because she's very different in private than she is in public. She never asked me about my career and got weird when I would talk about it. There are a lot of people she's cut off. Her mother-in-law and father-in-law, her mom, and many, many others. All situations where I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything and they were just mean sort of things. She shunned me for an entire day when I joked about Sam and I moving away. She also tried to turn me against some of my family. She's recently been sending my parents nice texts and gifts, adding to their disapproval of our no contact situation. Oh, how I want to tell them everything. Even going as far as texting my mom on Christmas and not texting Sam. She loves to sabotage things, wanting to take down a bunch of cheerleaders' Instagrams when her daughter didn't make it on the team, wanting to ruin people's businesses that she had tiffs with. Her husband is extremely codependent on her. She admitted to trying to prod people into breaking down so they'd get arrested for something because they were an annoying neighbor. Whoa, she's just scheming. Scheme after scheme with this lady.
Sue the schemer, dude. She lives up to the name.
I mean, I'm sure there are many things that you could sue or get her arrested for.
Well, you need the evidence. That's
true.
The thing.
That is the problem. She has sworn us to secrecy on things that would jeopardize her self-image. Please share any thoughts or opinions. I want to know I'm making the right decision by going no contact, but it guts me seeing my husband spend less time with his family. If we were to reconnect at some point, would it be a big disaster? What do I do about my parents not really supporting me? Thanks for reading. And P.S. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are fighting his DUI in court, but I know for a fact he was wasted. Do I get involved? Given his past, I worry it could happen again and maybe he even hurt someone. And there is an update, but I think my opinion is don't get involved with any of this.
Yeah, remove yourself.
Remove yourself entirely from their life. I think OP is like, I don't know, like just this like idea that, oh, I feel bad because my husband isn't going to be able to have a relationship with his parents. He doesn't want one.
They're not really built for it. It doesn't feel like.
Yeah, they parentified him since he was 14.
Yeah.
He does not want a relationship with his parents, and you pushing it is probably going to, make it worse. Because it seems like the only one who's pushing anything or any sort of involvement with his parents is you.
And you don't need to.
I don't need to. He doesn't want it.
And you don't need to get involved in the
No.
DUI process or
They
anything.
have
It's like
proof.
if you try to fight that, yeah, good
What's he
luck
gonna do?
fighting the breathalyzer, my
I'm
guy.
sorry.
Like,
There's a breathalyzer. There's proof of him, probably driving, not only under the influence, probably driving
Yeah.
recklessly.
and it just further, I think, like exemplifies their perspective of just like, I don't know, this like weird self-absorbed entitlement of like, well, of course we can fight it and win because it's like, that's just who, we don't deserve that. And I was fine. Like,
No, there's
dude, you were in the
no
middle of a
way.
bender and you did a DUI.
There's literally no way that they can fight that, that they can disprove this in any way. So just you don't need they don't need more proof.
So imagine the next part of the story is like, well, they went to court and they actually got paid $25,000 for wrongful arrest.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
I don't think so though. I don't think so.
But yeah, no, I think you just stay out of it. Stay no contact. Don't get involved with them. Don't go see them. Don't do nothing. But there is an update. Long story short, my father-in-law, Parker, got a DUI, and my mother-in-law, Sue, blamed it on me going no contact, and subsequently Sam spending less time around them. I'm no contact. Sam interacts with mother-in-law professionally because he works for their family business, and still interacts with his dad normally. If you want to hear the full story on the DUI situation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyway, yesterday my mother-in-law called my husband Sam from their family cabin. My mother-in-law and father-in-law used to go to Mexico a lot to get wasted and do other substances. We aren't sure what those substances are, but we know she has an open opioid prescription for years and abuses Xanax. Sue calls Sam. She was very clearly intoxicated, slurring her speech, and would circle back around to things she had already told him. Sam loses it. What the heck are you guys doing up there? If you guys drive home wasted again, I'm dragging you both to a facility. He goes on to also voice his concern over their decade-long habit of leaving the younger kids for weeks, Jim and Lucy. Sam's the oldest of three and took on the parental role for weeks at a time from 13 to 22. Once we are married, we said no more. Now there's just one 16-year-old at home, Jim. He's had it the worst for sure. I mean, like, if you guys were to do anything, again, should have been calling CPS.
Yeah, like
that should have been the thing that you
child's
do.
being neglected. Call the authorities.
You should have called them years ago. I watched my mother-in-law and father-in-law miss his birthday for like 4 or 5 years in a row due to Mexico trips. Now he, Jim, claims not to mind them leaving for weeks at a time, saying, I have Becca, his girlfriend. I didn't hear the conversation directly, just from Sam. At some point, my mother-in-law said, I miss the way we used to talk. Sam, you mean you miss me being your therapist? You would discuss things with me you should have been discussing with your husband. I can attest to this. I've heard conversations in the past that were very inappropriate. Sue, what do I do if Jim is talking to weird people online? I need you to go find Lucy. She's out past curfew. I want you to drag her away in front of all of her friends to embarrass her for being out past curfew.
Oh, so you're just a terrible parent. That's cool.
Oh, you're so bad.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a great way. Yes, let's socially damage our child, and that'll teach them a lesson.
We ended multiple dates early for the sake of punishing Lucy. The best part is Lucy never actually did anything wrong, always misunderstandings. Anyway, the conversation didn't end well. Sam was furious but wanted to make sure they weren't about to drive home wasted and called his dad, also at the cabin. The conversation went something like his dad asking Sam why he thought he was so superior to everyone else. This is now a running thing with both parents and both siblings. They think we are better than everyone else, mostly for Sam criticizing his parents' parenting. Sam backed down, no, apologizing for getting involved in parenting their kid. That's wild to be like, I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm parenting your kid. Because they made you parent their kid.
Exactly.
They left you alone at 14 to parent their kids.
I am the parent. You are the child.
When Sam inquired about the situation with Sue calling him while she was intoxicated, Parker chalked it up to her starting menopause. The craziest part is when Sam called me to give me the rundown, it sounded like he believed that. She's been calling him intoxicated and showing these exact behaviors for years. She only just started menopause. I'm sad because Parker has always been the more reasonable, level-headed one. I lost so much respect when he offered that excuse. Maybe he meant when she gets intoxicated, it's worse now because she's starting menopause. So Sam apologized. and ended the conversation. I offered my opinion that yes, he shouldn't need to be involved with that stuff. He's already been doing it for years, but he doesn't need to apologize for being mad about it because it's pretty messed up. He's not going to change them anyway, so I feel like the best thing he can do is just be a friend to his younger brother and be there if he needs to talk about it. Okay, the day goes on. Sam didn't want to talk about the situation anymore, so we decided to have a peaceful rest of the day. All of a sudden, we're out grabbing some things at the store and he just shuts down. I can tell when something is wrong because he gets very cut and dry. I asked him if he wanted to talk about it, and he says, for now, all I need to know was that he got a text that pissed him off. He wanted to calm down and figure out what he was going to do about it before telling me. Because, Sam, you're going to be so pissed off about this. A few hours later, he finally told me, and I was definitely not happy. His family builds homes for a living, and they are building one for my cousin, the Smiths, right now. We obviously love them and are fairly close with them. Sue sent a text. Sue, tell Smiths they get a 2% price increase. Wait, your family friends get a 2% price increase? It was very clear that this was directly correlated to the conversations earlier that day. Okay, before we go any further, some background. Supposedly, they needed to do a price increase on their home a few weeks ago, but they figured out some way to make it disappear. I think mother-in-law and father-in-law were just going to make less on the house. I cautiously paid attention to see if this was a kind deed they were doing to make up for the past stuff. However, I was weary because they pretty much always manipulate and apologize through money, which they have loads to throw around. So they made it disappear to manipulate us into thinking they changed, and then made it reappear to manipulate us into knowing they haven't changed. What I think it's about, I think they want to ward us off from getting involved in their regular user time and child neglect. Maybe when Sam apologized, they knew they could make him feel even more sorry. I don't know. And you'll never be sorry when you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search for Focus Storytime. But there is a little bit left, and I am a little bit confused by that last part. It seems like OP and Sam have some close cousins who were, it's like originally they were kind of doing a favor for, and we're like, oh, we're gonna give you this discounted house or something. And then as punishment for Sam's behavior, Sue was like, we're actually doing an increase on the price now. That's my understanding of that.
It feels like they were like, well, maybe we'll just take a little bit of a loss. I don't know. It's just the constant theme of instead of just doing things themselves, they're like, you do it. When it's like they should be the ones to do it. It's their price increase. Mm-hmm. They're the ones laying it down.
I think they're just like,
they just want to make OP's husband be the bad guy.
Regardless of what they're doing, it seems like they're punishing OP's husband. That's like the main thing. But there is a little bit left of the story. My final thought is call CPS on them. Get this child away from them. In conclusion, I'm extremely mad and hurting for my cousins. Sam is the agent on their house, so he's not going to charge them for his service. That should cover most of the extra they were going to have to pay. Yeah, so it does seem like originally they were supposed to be getting a discount on this house, and now they're having to pay more. While this situation stinks, it made my decision to go no contact more clear. I have battled with it relentlessly and made Sam's decision to leave the family business easier. And after people read my post and offered insight, it was a huge game changer for my situation and helped me see more clearly. Again, if you have any input for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Anywhere you think Sam and I have been wrong, insight into mother-in-law and father-in-law's behavior, etc. Thank you and have a blessed day. And that was the end of that story.
Yeah, I mean, I think addiction probably informs a lot of
absolutely.
Behavior,
I mean, it seems like sometimes when you have those problems and stuff, it's like you want to hoard that money and spend it on that and stuff. And so there's probably also money things surrounding this deal, and then it's also trying to punish you, and yeah.
Not very high on the parent totem pole.
Nope. Probably the lowest on the parent totem pole.
Pretty low.
Pretty
low flying.
But that is the end of that story. My father's partner won't respect my daughter's boundaries, so we sidestepped their surprise party. My 33 female daughter, Cleo, 5-year-old, hates pink. She has disliked the color and almost everything to do with it since she was about 3 or so. She has one pink shirt she likes and one pink stuffed animal, and that's it. By the way, this comes from Daughter Party Throw, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my father's partner, Prue, refuses to accept that Cleo doesn't like pink. Over the years, she's made several attempts to push the color onto her. Pretty much every gift she's ever given her was some shade of pink, no matter how many times I tell her to stop. She has tried to give me dozens of different reasons why I should encourage my daughter to try different shades. It clearly upsets Cleo, but Prue keeps doing it. About a week ago, my father invited me, my husband, and our children for dinner at his place. He said he and Prue had a surprise for the kids. Right before we left home, my younger sister, who still lives with our father, texted me. She warned me that the surprise was actually a small birthday party Prue had planned for Cleo. That alone threw me off because my daughter's birthday was in November. My father did miss her actual birthday party due to work, but still. Also, my son turns 9 in March, so I figured his would be the next party we'd have. Then she sent me photos of how the place was decorated, and it was very clearly not meant for Cleo. Literally every piece of decor was pink. The tableware, the balloons, everything. She has gotten pink banners and glued pink foil fringe curtains on the doors. Even the cake was pink.
Why? Why
are we forcing these silly little gender stereotypes onto 5-year-olds?
She has to like the color pink.
She's a girl.
And if you've ever played the game of life,
you
the girl
have to
pieces
be
are pink and the boy pieces are blue. So she has to be pink.
She has to be. I showed everything to my husband and we agreed not to take the kids there. I texted my father the following. Hey, sister told me everything. We're not coming. We're taking the kids to McDonald's and telling them that was your surprise. You and Prue can come if you want. We're paying. We did exactly that. My father did show up without Prue, but he was cold with us and left 20 minutes after arriving. Both him and Prue are pissed. My father is angry that my husband and I dismissed his partner's heartfelt gesture towards our daughter.
It's not heartfelt.
Not heartfelt. She's just trying to enforce pink on your daughter. Prue also told me that I'm the reason Cleo is restrictive. I also don't like pink, and I'm raising her to be an ungrateful, spoiled brat who is unwilling to compromise. To be honest, I get how I could be in the wrong here, but at the same time, this just felt like Prue trying to push something Cleo doesn't like onto her yet again. My sister and one of my brothers are on my side, though my sister did say I had been rude. My other brother is on the fence. Am I the a-hole? Edit, my daughter doesn't know I dislike pink, nor would I care if she did like it. No, you're not the a-hole. Your parents clearly don't care about your daughter at all, because one, it's not even her birthday. So it's like, what? They're throwing this weird little birthday party that is not made for your daughter's, interests at all.
I wonder where this behavior comes from.
I don't know.
Where's the emotional core of somebody being like, yeah, my 5-year-old daughter doesn't like pink, and then you have to be like, oh, we'll see about that.
It's like, we'll make her like pink. No, don't you worry.
Why are you making my daughter's birthday about you being right about the color pink?
Weirdo.
Just make it the color she likes because it's her birthday. She's 5.
Literally.
Yeah,
and if you can't do that, then don't throw the birthday party.
It's weird.
But there is an update. Hey guys, I ended up leaving a lot of comments on my Am I the A-hole post, many of which say the same thing over and over. Oh, I wanted to clarify some things. Cleo and Prue are both fake names. We're not American. Prue's 46 years old, and I don't call her my stepmother because she's only 13 years older than me. Also, she's not married to my father, but they've been together for 12 years. I have nothing against her. We're just not close. Cleo's interests are pretty balanced. She likes princesses, cars, robots, and dolls. She loves science and outer space. She does ballet and loves it too. She's the only girl in her ballet class who wears black. Her teacher calls her Black Swan. She's not a girly girl, but I wouldn't call her a tomboy either. She's just a kid who hates pink. Cleo's favorite colors are yellow and blue. Though I understand the assumption Cleo dislikes pink because of me, that's not the case. I hate pink, but I'm not disgusted by it. I wear pink clothing around my children. I occasionally dressed Cleo in pink as a baby. I own pink stuff and buy it for myself. My kids don't know I don't like pink. They've chosen pink gifts for me in the past. According to my son, I love all the colors. My father and Prue know it because I've disliked pink since long before I had children. There's plenty of stuff I hate that my children like and vice versa. They don't have to care about these things, so I don't tell them. Cleo's more boyish tastes also annoy Prue. I wonder why. Wow, the lady that is enforcing pink on this 5-year-old is annoyed that the 5-year-old's kind of a tomboy.
I guarantee you she's the kind of person who's like, oh, we just wouldn't want her to grow up wrong.
And she's like, she has to act like a lady. She's the type of person who's like, whenever Cleo's around other boys in her grade, she's like, oh, is that your boyfriend? Is that other 5-year-old your boyfriend?
Yeah, that's whack. 5-year-olds having boyfriends.
Not as much as the pink thing, but enough that my husband and I know. Cleo's birthday party last November was themed after Super Mario Bros. And Prue actually asked me why I was allowing that. Cleo is open about hating pink. She's expressed that to Prue several times.
I'm sorry. I just have to reference the fact that she's like, how are you allowing your child to have their party be centered around literally one of the most, if not the most popular child's intellectual property of all time?
Yeah, it's a little silly.
You fool.
That's a little silly.
What are you, a fool?
Are you silly?
You fool.
Both my kids are polite. Whenever Prue gives my daughter something pink, Cleo thanks her. She'll sometimes ask Prue if she can give her something yellow next time, and she doesn't act as excited as she gets when other people give her something she actually likes. But that's it. We let Cleo choose which of her gifts she wants to exchange. She always asks to exchange pink stuff. If it can't be exchanged, she won't play with it or wear it. We either give those away to our friends or donate them to charity. Cleo does have friends who love pink. Her best friend loves it and wouldn't complain if they threw pink parties for themselves. She'd know those aren't about her. But the second you make it about her, aka threw her a pink party, then she'd be upset. Cleo would have loathed the party. She would have started crying immediately. She wouldn't have eaten the cake. She wouldn't have had fun. I didn't tell Cleo about the party for a number of reasons. Most importantly, I didn't want her to get upset. I also knew that letting her see it would ruin my father's image in her eyes. Cleo is already upset that Prue doesn't care about what she likes, and I didn't want to get frustrated at her grandfather too. Yes, my daughter does in fact hate pink. Yes, I'm well aware that might change someday. No, I wouldn't care if it did. I think that's all I wanted to say here. Feel free to ask me any other questions you may have. And there is another update. But any thoughts?
Great comment brings up that she has an older brother.
Also,
She's looking up to her older brother.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. A lot of
like
Sam's
pink.
things that Sam liked, influenced my taste and things as well. It happens. Anyway, there is an update though. First of all, I apologized to my sister a few hours after I made my original post. I am very grateful for what she did, but I'll do my best to keep her away from those conflicts moving forward. Thank you to those who defended her. Secondly, I went through your comments with my husband, and our main takeaway was that we did what we had to do to protect Cleo, even if it wasn't what we do in most circumstances. Had either of us been surprised with a party decorated with something we openly hated, we would have stood up and ignored it. It sucks, but we're adults and it comes with the territory. Cleo, however, is 5 years old. She wouldn't deal with this the same way, nor would we expect her to. Knowing my daughter, she would have been miserable at that party, so ultimately we don't regret not taking her there. On Saturday, we took the kids to spend the afternoon at my brother's place with their cousins. In the meantime, we invited my father and Prue over to talk. My husband and I told them that we wanted them to abide by the following: no more surprise parties without our knowledge and approval. No more pushing the color pink onto Cleo, including pink gifts. And no more calling our children spoiled for being allowed to dislike things. If they didn't agree to our terms, we would no longer take the kids to their place, and there would be a good chance we'd lower our contact with them in the future. Prue didn't say anything at first. My father tried to argue that we should at least thank her for the party, but I said no. I told him the problem wasn't that Prue threw a party for my daughter that was dedicated to her own interests. It was that she specifically chose something she knows my daughter hates and centered everything around it. We wouldn't thank her and we wouldn't apologize. That's when Prue chimed in. She tried to tell us we were raising our daughter to be a brat again. So I asked, why are you so insistent on pink? She didn't answer at first, but then she said she knew Cleo did love pink. She just didn't know it yet.
Wow.
And to that I asked, would you be this pushy if it was about any other color? Prue tried to say that didn't matter. But when my husband asked her if she'd care if Cleo hated blue, she said, she doesn't need to like blue. He replied that she didn't need to like pink either. He told Prue that she had no right to decide what Cleo should and shouldn't like. Cleo hates pink, and if she can't be an adult and respect that, then she doesn't need to be around our children. Good on you.
It is absolutely ridiculous that this is a conversation flowing out of a grown woman's mouth.
She's gotta like pink. But you can hear conversation flow out of our mouths if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. There's a little bit left to the story. I think that you and your husband are doing the right thing. You're just putting your foot down saying like, hey, you need to stop or you're not going to be able to be around the kids.
Yeah, you need to knock off the unhinged behavior regarding the color pink.
Yep.
Regarding just gendered colors. Relax.
Weirdo.
Kid is 5.
It's so crazy.
They're allowed to like whatever they want.
In the end, my father and Prue agreed to our terms. I'm not confident about her, but I did speak to my father. I said I know that he has a hard time saying no to Prue, but he will ruin his relationships with me and my children if he keeps enabling his partner. My father promised he wouldn't let this happen again. I hope this works out. Cleo is a great kid, and I hope my father and Prue can finally start seeing that. Thank you all for everything. And that's the end of that story.
Remember, folks, pink is for girls only, and blue
Moral
is for
of
boys
the story
only.
is that if you're a girl, you have to wear pink.
If
Girls
they,
pink, boys blue, easy. That's it.
And if OP
Easy.
had followed the rules, okay, everything would be fine.
Wouldn't have had this problem.
Okay, now for all those out there who maybe don't know what humor is, that was sarcasm.
No to
Alright?
pink.
Come back to me. Come back.
Come back, everyone.
Shh, shh,
Please.
shh, shh, shh. It was all a joke. It was all a joke.
But
Little
that was
girls
the
can
end
wear
of
whatever the color they want. Little boys can wear whatever color they want.
Yeah.
The fully grown men and women
The
can
fully
wear whatever
grown.
colors they want. It really has nothing to do with anyone.
Gender is a social construct. But that is the end of that story. We love you and see you tomorrow.